Good evening. Welcome to Southeastern 16's baseball reaction on a Sunday. I'm your host, Chris Lee, joined by Graham Doty and Holy Buckets. It's Jay Greason.
I missed one day. I'm in a softball tournament in Southeastern Tennessee, and it's like I'm Epstein, and I got to write a note from Epstein's mother from the Welcome Back Kotter show.
Okay. I thought you were
going. Epstein, my mind went somewhere else. But
anyway, I was going the other one.
You've said a lot of funny things on this show, but I think the look you just gave us cracked me up more than anything. Oh, for our people on audio, you're going to miss that. But anyway, hope everybody had a great Sunday. It has been a crazy day for the SEC. I don't even know where to start because we had 13 teams playing today. I guess the headliners, Vanderbilt eliminated from the tournament as the #1 national seed. That's the only time in the history of the tournament in this format that the #1 national seed has not made a regional final. Crazy game for the Commodores today. Across the state, Tennessee gets walked by Wake Forest and will go to a Monday night with the Deacons. What a crazy day for Wake. We got a bunch of games going on. If you're catching us on the replay, it is 8:37 Central as we're doing this. So a few games have just started. A few games are in the middle of innings. Florida eliminated. Georgia eliminated. Ole Miss staying alive through a wild game today and playing Murray State right now. I'm sure I've missed all kinds of stuff.
Texas is getting spanked.
Texas. How about Kentucky State, guys? My goodness. They just flipped the switch in Clemson. Like, there's so much to talk about. I don't know where to start, but I will tell you this. I think we're going to be going a couple hours tonight just to unpack what we've seen and what is happening as we speak.
Well, I think we got to start with Vandy because that's history made, not in the good kind if you're a Vandy fan. And you were there, Chris. So,
no, I wasn't there today. Okay. I watched from TV. Because I had so much stuff to do here. But, I mean, that was I think they ended up hitting at about $120 for the weekend and lost 2 one-run games.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were 0 for their first 21 on balls in play today. So wherever it was going, it was finding a glove. They tied the game for a brief second in the ninth on a Rustin-Rigdon double. And Mike Mancini was scoring easily from first. Like, he might have been a few feet from home plate by the time, the dust settled. But ball bounced over the wall. R.J. Austin popped to right, and that was the game. So there was that one. Man, just runs everywhere today. And how about Georgia getting walked off by Oklahoma State?
Yeah, and that slugfest. Yeah. Give credit to Oklahoma State. Like, they closed strong, and, that would have been easy for them today. Like, Georgia kind of came out with an attitude in that one, and they got the home runs early, and then it just didn't faze Oklahoma State at all. Yeah. I do want to ask you about Vandy. Like, how ironic is it that Vandy hires Wright State's hitting coach, and then
it wasn't Wright State.
Who'd they hire?
It was Left State.
Dayton.
Dayton. Okay. Okay, I was thinking that it was Wright State, and I was like, man.
Well, they could have used that guy this weekend because those dudes can hit.
Yeah.
They can really hit. But I think Vanderbilt now is I think its last 8 NCAA tournament losses, maybe 7 of them have been by 1 run.
Yeah, I saw you texted us that. Like,
yeah.
What would you, if you could pinpoint that on something, like, what's your guess?
Well, look, they're not they haven't played, like, the teams that beat them are not exactly the heavyweights of college baseball in that spell, and at some point their teams they should probably be beating 10-2, but they didn't. But I mean, like, today you had they had a double that I think if there were replay, it was one of those that, like, hits are only replayed like if it's fair foul in the outfield, not over the bag. I think the third base ump missed a call that would have knocked in a run or two. I mean, they got some bad breaks, but ultimately you need to create more separation between yourself and the Wright States of the world, especially for the top seed. So, I mean, They haven't played well in the postseason in a few years.
And one of the things that really screams about how disappointing this is for Vandy fans is a lot of us thought that they got a pretty manageable bracket.
Yeah.
And they're still packing the gear.
The only issue I took with their draw is I thought Wright State was a tough 4 seed. I thought as the number 1 national seed, they deserved better than they got. I thought Louisville was one of the easier 2s around, and the 3 was East Tennessee State, which I thought could be tough, but they never saw. So, I mean, look, if you're the number 1 national seed, you win those kind of games, right? And even some of these 4 seeds that we thought were cookies, I mean, we're sitting here in Little Rock and North Dakota State are in the regional finals, are they not?
Yeah, Little Rock is. How about Little Rock winning 2 games and getting to play LSU? Like that's a really, really cool story.
Sorry, wait a minute. Creighton is in the final, but I think I think North Dakota State gave Creighton a game today. We got Utah Valley in the winner's bracket tonight. I mean,
I think they just got walked off.
Utah Valley did? Oh, no kidding. Was that the championship, or was there a winner take all?
From the reactions, Utah Valley looks devastated.
Yeah, let's see.
So they're eliminated. So it's Arizona, Cal Poly.
Okay.
And then I'll take schools everybody can get into for 400, Alex.
Which one?
Arizona and Cal Poly.
Never been to Cal Poly. I've been in Tucson. I get it. Like when you go out there, when you see Arizona and Arizona State.
Yeah. Our big man Bruce Pearl says Ike Irish just hit a ball to Jupiter.
See, I think it carried over Jupiter.
Okay, I see the walk off here.
I think it actually carried over Jupiter and hit the ring of Saturn, bounced off the ring of Saturn, and destroyed the now known as a star of Pluto.
Wow. Bounced off the ring. I thought that was like a layer of dust that was the ring.
Well, I hate that Pluto has now been
But how do we know?
It's lost its status. How did Pluto get demoted?
It's got a bad PR person, Jay. It needs a better PR person.
They're not a planet anymore. Are they just like a big rock, or are they? What did we decide?
You know who we blame? We blame Bruce Willis in that documentary Armageddon.
Right.
Because I think that was based on historical events.
Big man Bruce Pearl says it didn't hit. It's still going. So I guess when it hit the rings of Saturn,
the ball carries in space now.
It does. The gravity thing really does some stuff with ball flight. So.
All right, I feel like I owe a big apology to West Virginia because they have played a heck of a lot better than
yeah.
And I know we're Southeastern 16, not Morgantown 16 or Big 12 16 or whatever 16 caters to their needs. But I crapped on them late last week, and they played. Man, they ripped my guts out and got in my wallet with that comeback against Kentucky.
Got in your wallet. That's really bad. But I'm just wondering, like, I don't like to make big takeaways from short series because all kinds of stuff can happen. But like, this is an era where like the big boys of college baseball should be favored. The teams that have got money that can play in the portal and do that, like the teams like the Wright States, the Utah Valleys, the Murray States, like you think like there's no way those teams can even compete. I wonder if there's something in the sauce because a lot of these kids are hired guns. They're making big money. They're looking at pros. I don't know if it's just a one-off thing, but I find this dynamic where the underdogs, and it's not just the wins and losses, but man, some of these games have been close and competitive. Like, what's the deal with all these 3s and 4s that are just popping up and giving teams everything they want and more?
I'll give you this, and I think you're going to see it in a lot of sports. And I think you're going to see a lot of turnover in the 3s and 4 seeds in baseball and the double-digit seeds in basketball. Because with the competition in the portal, your power programs are going in and addressing needs with dudes. So your best high school recruits or SEC level high school recruits don't have any place else to land but Wright State. Because Tennessee and Arkansas and even Auburn, in a lot of times, they're either getting elite high school recruits or they're going to the portal. So these guys who are now hungry, who are desperate, are finding directional places to land, and they're playing for their first contract. Because if you go to Wright State and you hit 370 as a freshman and y'all find a way out of a regional, you're going to have every major program in the country showing up with a check in their pocket that could have multiple commas.
Like the kid that left High Point to go to LSU or is about to go to LSU, players like that. I also think, Jay, you're going to see these high school kids go to the junior college route like way more for two reasons. One, for what you just said, and then like the other reasons, if they go that route and then eventually when they go the 4-year university route, they got 4 years now. And
they got 4 years, and they're also draft eligible after 1 year of junior college.
That's what I was about to say too. So if they tear it up,
if you don't get a NIL deal you like, you throw your name in the draft hat, and then you can come back.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the other thing. Next year, the roster limits go from 40 to 34. So, and this is all happening like the players still have more eligibility than they've had before.
But Chris,
there's more incentive for them to come back if they're a borderline draft prospect to college at a place like, I'm just going to throw it out, an A&M and LSU. And then you're going to have a pool for fewer high school seniors to make it in Division I next year.
And that's with NIL, Chris, because walk-ons are going away.
Yeah, and with NIL, like Kentucky, Tyler Bell, he got to campus. So now they're picking up albeit a very small layer of players they can go to high school. Like, if you're kind of an in-between, like you're good, but you're not a stud, those guys I think are going to end up at the Wright States in the Utah Valleys for all the reasons Jay said. And they're going to end up there maybe in bigger numbers than they had. I mean, I could be totally full of it. I don't know. But this whole thing to me is fascinating.
But the 3-4 are going to be more competitive when you shrink numbers. Those programs aren't carrying 42 dudes. It felt like everybody this side of Bob Kessling was in a Tennessee baseball uniform today in the dugout.
Yeah. I feel like the roster stuff is going to benefit like the big boys way more than the group of 5 teams. Like there's no way that they can carry 30 scholarship players at Wright State, Little Rock, pick your 3 or 4 seed.
But those guys would love to have the last 6 guys on Tennessee's roster, on Arkansas's roster, on LSU's roster.
Okay, but I'm just going to throw one at you here. And I'm just going to pick schools. Let's say a kid is committed to Georgia, right? Gets squeezed out in that. And even if he makes it into Georgia and doesn't get squeezed, he might be guy 34 on the roster, right? Now that guy maybe goes to Georgia Southern, where at Georgia Southern he's a dude, and he's a freshman who can play right away, not sit the bench in Wes Johnson's dugout. Again, no offense meant to anybody here, but the best way to develop as a player is to play. And look how many of these mid-major players are just driving the ball out of the yard all weekend, especially on the hitting end. I just think you get better by playing ball, and I wonder if that's the thing that we've missed.
Well, and to that point, I think Graham's spot on. They're going to be every Major League Baseball team will be represented with a draft scout at the junior college regionals or however they do their postseason, because junior college is about to be filled with high school dudes now.
Yes. But I was talking to someone today. They had a kid or a nephew that was player of the year or the runner-up for player of the year in one of the classifications in Tennessee, had an offer to some smaller like OVC type schools, got a call, was told you don't have a scholarship anymore after the roster, and just said, screw it, I'm giving up baseball. I don't want to go play at Rhodes or Trevecca or wherever.
One, I caution against that. As much fun and as many stories as I've got from my time at Auburn, I do sometimes wonder if I had gone and played small college basketball, how much that would have. I'm happy. I don't think it would have changed my direction because I found my soulmate and we live a wonderful life here in Chattanooga. But
your knees thank you too.
Well, there's no doubt about that. Well, my liver doesn't, but my knees do.
Pick your poison.
That's a great dad joke right there, especially for just having a newborn. Pick your dad, pick your poison. Hey, we are about to see with these roster limits, and I know we got to get back to baseball because we got a whole lot of great questions and hungry people. But with these roster constrictions, we're about to see the back end of that NIL because they're going to be a whole heck of a lot of players cut. They're going and if you don't deliver, they're going to tell you to pack your things, fella, cash that check, and that's the last one you get, and go find somewhere else to go. There's not only going to be the portal option, there's going to be the portal push coming forward quickly.
Yes,
to a campus near you.
Yeah, no doubt.
By the way, it just sucks that
Ole Miss has hit 3 home runs in a row.
Yeah, I know. Ole Miss is just turning this regional into slow pitch softball. How many home runs has Ole Miss hit this regional?
Are you talking about their pitchers or their hitters?
Well, they're hitters right now.
Yeah.
Maybe some of both, but
it's been both, but Ole Miss is in double digits for sure. They hit 6 in one game yesterday.
Yeah.
So that's 9 if you count the 3 in a row. I think they've got 4 or 5 in this game going on right now. So they got at least 11.
There's a single there. Is that a lose? Is that a loss? Yeah, let's see. Okay. I'm going to get back to Ole Miss in a minute, but just rewinding a little bit. Let's start with the teams that are done. I'm just going to go in the order that I got the box scores printed out. Florida, Pierce Coppola just wasn't very good today. Neither was Billy Barlow or Jake Clemente. Really disappointed in Florida.
Sullivan's postgame press conference. Yikes.
I heard he let some people have it over the start time and some other stuff, but I don't know all the context.
Well, he got asked about a postgame. Let's just say you can find it pretty easy on social media.
What was the gist of what was said?
That's Bush League and bullcrap. And I got all the respect of the world for Kevin O'Sullivan, who, again, we use this phrase a lot, forgotten more baseball than I'll know. But I don't like the BS that Tim Corbin asking a reporter, have you ever pitched in a college baseball playoff game? Well, no. Have you ever done my job, Tim Corbin? And I don't like Kevin O'Sullivan nitpicking start times and whatever else in a city. I mean, your team wet the bed, bro. I mean, that's on you. Have your guys ready to play, and you handed the ball to your one. And Liam Peterson was dreck.
Yeah. What was the complaint about the start time? Was it something to do with weather, or was it something to do with just the late starts?
I'm not sure. I kind of think it's the latter, but again, I didn't see it. I was reading about it, and then he got asked about a post game. It sounds like he went up to Godwin or whoever, and like it got intense. If I'm wrong, somebody please correct me in the chat. But again, I had a pretty busy day today too. But I just saw that went viral, and then I watched the post game press conference and was like, "Geez."
Little Rock just homered in Baton Rouge and is now down 3-2.
Again, that's a great story.
Missed another home run by a foot as I'm speaking. That's a double. What is going on?
Again, like I have a better answer for Little Rock compared to the other fours. Again, Little Rock, they won the regular season last year. They were picked preseason second. They had 6 of their starters miss a lot of time like 6. Think about that. When you lose 6 starters to injury throughout the regular season. So they finally got everybody back healthy like the last 2 weeks, and then they just started to click, won the conference tournament, and now here they are in the regional final.
I mean, that's a credit to any baseball team who overcome that. I do not know a single basketball team who can lose 6 starters to injury and overcome that.
That would be tough. That'd be.
You're telling me Casper the Ghost out there can't get a double?
Hey!
My team is on the floor.
Oh, you so read my mind. One more thing. I think it's time for me to start playing basketball again. One more thing. I play, Coach stays. He goes, I go. Hey, did y'all notice that when Jimmy decided to come back to the team, the Hoosiers 4-pass before a shot rule went completely out the window? It just get the ball in Jimmy's hands and let him put it in the air.
Jimmy buckets, baby.
The superstar treatment only goes so far. That's Jaden Newt starting for LSU, by the way, who started in the tournament. Man, West Virginia's just hit a home run.
How many home runs have the Hogs hit? It feels like a million.
This is crazy. I think all the stuff with the home runs going down was just a weather thing. Because, I mean, you can't look up on squeeze play without seeing a ball leave the yard every 5 minutes, and sometimes 2 in that span.
Now, I did listen to Mike Bianco post-game, like in between the first game today, leading up to the nightcap. That he said it's all about weather. Just the warm weather has really impacted, and it really makes a difference on how far the ball carries.
Anything else on Florida? Go ahead.
Well, somebody answered my question. Arkansas has 8 home runs and 21 innings. That's insane.
Gosh.
Yeah. So final thoughts about Florida. Just as long as O'Sullivan is there, they're going to be a threat. But this year, I just think the injuries got to them early in the season and then at the tail end of the season as well. It's just too much for them to overcome.
Hey,
I'll rebut that a little bit. Bedwetter
this weekend than Georgia. That was gross.
Yeah. I wanted one more word on Florida. You're right, but it was the pitching that did them in this weekend. And that was all the guys that they would have had anyway. So that one's a little bit more nuanced. Georgia pitching got Georgia in the end. Oklahoma State walked them off. Hit a bomb off Zach Harris, and that's one of those situations. That's another thing I hate. If you're the higher seeded team in the tournament, you should always be the home team. I think that's a dumb rule.
Jay, we talked about that last night. Where are you on that?
On what?
The number 1 seed always being the home team.
Without question, without fail. And here's the other thing. Make logistical decisions that are easy for the common fan to comprehend. Because if you're tuning in and you see Tennessee as the visitor against Wake Forest in Tennessee's Park with 22,000 people in orange shirts and a handful of them really tipsy because, dear Lord, the open mic in the Tennessee game tonight on TV, woo, it got a little salty. But make this easy to comprehend. I mean, when you completely bend over 12 ways Tuesday for fairness, then you're being unfair. The 1 seed is the 1 seed for a reason.
Anytime you have to literally flip a coin to figure something out, like, I don't like it. Don't like it.
I think we go rock, paper, scissors in all regards to this. Whether it's deciding who gets the ball first in overtime in the NFL, I mean, I don't care. I want rock, paper, scissors. I do.
You want a 33 and a 3% chance.
Yes.
As opposed
to of course I'm going rock, paper, scissors, dynamite. And everybody's going, what the hell is dynamite? And I'm going, well, it won me on the playground. Yeah. And if it didn't win me on the playground, I was bigger and heavier than all the other kids, and that won me on the playground.
Yeah.
Well, bigger didn't work for Georgia. Slade Alford, Christian Adams both hit 2 home runs today. The pitching was the thing that got them in the end.
Side question for the group, because the results are the results. Maybe we'll dive into this more Monday. How much was the Mississippi State stuff a distraction for Georgia with his name being high on the list? I mean, Graham, you'd know way better than me, but that team was not the same team for the last month plus.
I mean, it's hard for me to say, obviously, right? Like, none of us are there. But, my opinion, none, just because he did 2 things. He came out in the middle of it and said, I'm not going to Mississippi State. And then, a week or so later, he re-signed a deal. So, he got a raise and he got way more years on his contract. So, to me, that would kind of nip it in the bud, especially, once they were the top 8 seed and they thought they were going to be in Athens going to Omaha. I just think they just ran into a buzzsaw. I mean,
that was a tough regional. The more we looked at that one, there were nightmares with Oklahoma State, and there were nightmares with Duke, and there were very different nightmares. With OSU, it was the pitching. With Duke, it's they can go blow for blow with Georgia for what it does. And I heard something that I thought was pretty well said. I don't remember if it was Kyle Peterson or Mike Rooney or somebody. They were talking about Georgia, and I think they were trying to say it in a way that was as uninsulting as possible. It might have been about Wake. Talked about how they had throwers and weren't, and sometimes they're pitchers or something to that effect. I mean, remember, Georgia's the team that had 18 guys that got clocked in the fall or spring 95 or greater. But when it came to the end of it, I mean, they had 2 guys that are really trusted to pitch, and that was Curley and Finley. And after that, it was a bunch of guys that threw hard, and sometimes you got results and sometimes you didn't. I mean, Matthew Hoskins was one of their better arms. He was a disaster today. Brian Zeldin from Penn transferred in last year, was a big part of what they did last year. Felt like he got passed by all the power arms, and they just needed guys who could pitch, and they didn't get it.
Well, and just think about it. Curley's a VCU transfer. They bring in JT Quinn, and he just didn't do much of anything. The Ole Miss
got the loss today.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't that's what Wes Johnson is known for, pitching, and the pitching let them down today. Not saying that it's all on Wes Johnson, but I just think they got to be extremely frustrated with the way everything shook out.
Well, I mean, in truth, in terms of how everything shook out, those of us who thought the SEC was the greatest baseball conference since the American League in 1927.
Are you putting on your Danny Cannell hat now?
No, I'm not. No. Danny Cannell's a clown, man.
Dude.
Hey, I did wave that flag pretty hard.
The one-horse ponies who just say, all right, I'm going to this is the stance I'm going to take, and I'm going to fight it to the hilt. Because I don't know how you say SEC basketball was a clown. I don't know how you say SEC softball was a clown. But we look up, and SEC baseball underachieved this weekend. I don't even know if Greg Sankey could put a positive spin on this. Well, and that's not a Danny Cannell. The SEC is perennially overrated. They're not. They spend the most money. It's not that it means more. They spend more. They earn more. I mean, the word more is a central figure in whatever statement you want to do, but it means whether you're playing at Fairfield or FSU or Florida, it means everything to you because that's the athlete you are, that's the coach you are, that's the fan you are. But it doesn't mean more. The SEC just has more. And this has been a disastrous weekend for SEC baseball.
Especially if Vandy and Texas go down.
Yes.
It's not looking good for Texas.
Yeah.
I think Texas kind of ran out of pitching at the end. And I didn't think that would be an issue.
From the beginning with the injury to Spencer.
Yeah, but it sure worked out well for a while.
But the other thing, just who they got matched up with. Like UTSA is beating Texas every time this season. So you know they were going to be over the moon for this matchup.
You bring up a great point because the last time I joined y'all, I remember us talking about, and of course that in Chris's memory, that's like 3 weeks ago because he now needed me to get a note from my mother about why I had missed the last 3 days in class.
Totally the wrong way.
8 years ago. Chris, my mother.
It was a play on your greeting. Get over it. Come on.
But every team came into this tournament thinking they were getting a chance to play against the 96 Yankees when they got to play against an SEC team.
Yeah. I still think it was a great year for the conference. I mean, the numbers were what they were, but the ACC was a pretty good league too. And here's the thing, guys. These leagues just don't play each other very much out of conference. Like you might see Clemson and Ole Miss in a one-off in Texas as part of a series or something like
February.
that. So like, how do we really know who's best? Like the SEC just beat the dog crap out of a lot of teams and out of conference. A lot of teams that were very overmatched first of the year, teams that probably didn't get 2 weeks of outdoor practice time and ran up the RPI that way. And then you get in the league and good RPI teams are playing good RPI teams. So everybody's RPI is going north. And I just don't think you have that many situations where there's a lot of competitive baseball outside of intra-league. And I still think the SEC was a phenomenal league this year. However this ends, I still will rest on that because, I mean, among other things, look at the draft right now and look how the first 10 rounds are just dominated by SEC talent. I don't think that's coincidental, but you really don't know till the postseason.
Think
Kentucky is
matchups. West Virginia just did something.
Yeah, I think they just tied the game off James McCoy, who's pitching because Kentucky doesn't have much in the way of the back end of the bullpen. And this is the second game of the day.
Alex Harrelson just put in the chat, Ole Miss beating the ACC champ with a depleted bullpen and putting up 15-4 against the team that beat them on Friday. Pretty solid. 100% pretty solid. They got a whole bunch of good hitters. But I swear to goodness, if Eli Manning pitches like 3 innings in relief on Monday, who's that going to shock?
Shout out Alex. We were in each other's weddings.
Never mind, Alex. Strike your comment. Trash.
Yeah, West Virginia's just tied it at 12 in the 8th and still got a man on with 2 outs. Oklahoma, by the way, we haven't said anything about the Sooners. They crushed Nebraska earlier in the day. And now we're up 8-5 on Oklahoma, but it is getting tense. It looks like Carolina has got bases loaded and nobody out, and I can't tell. Let's see who Oklahoma's warming up. I think Crooks threw last night.
One thing I do feel confident about is I don't see the Big Ten going anywhere baseball-wise.
Ever.
No.
And you know what, though? It's smart. Because in an era of NIL where you've got to move money, don't try to be great in everything, or don't try to be really good in everything. Be great in a few things.
Hey, Graham, guess who's throwing in the bullpen for Oklahoma? They got 2 guys up.
Kyson?
One of them, nope. One of them is Reed Hensley, and the other one is Dylan Tate, who threw 1 inning all year in the SEC tournament. And I think he was popping 97 or 98. Been hurt all year. And I think he's got some big-time stuff.
Jodie Foster's kid from that movie about the kid with specials?
That guy. He's trying to close it out for Oklahoma right now.
That's a wonderful story. That'll be a great 30 for 30.
Somebody says Crooks is coming in, but I saw 2 guys in the bullpen, and neither of them were Crooks.
How do you know? They may have had a
because I read the numbers.
They may have had a shady past. They could have been crooks. Kid knocks off a convenience store, robs like some gum or something.
Okay, I get it. Crooks is in now. I get what he's saying. Okay.
Maybe he can steal an out.
Oh gosh, Kentucky still can't stop the bleeding.
I see you, Jay. That was a good one.
Thank you, man. All right, when were y'all going to tell me that I need to go put a hat on because I've got game show host hair?
No, you got A+ hair. That's what you got.
That makes the show, man.
Never apologize for good hair. Rule 101.
Well, I know the Arkansas guy quit us who said I had clown hair, but today he's right.
Softball today, Jay? Did you guys travel, or was that yesterday?
Got a good softball story if we get to it, but we got too much baseball to get to.
That's a tease for later, chat.
Or hey, I got a million stories, brother. I have listed a bunch of stories.
There's one thing you don't have, Jay Greason.
Bad hair.
I don't have mine yet.
Like I said, one thing you don't have. GameTimeSidekicks.com is where you go. These are wonderful tumblers. Had mine for a week and a half. It is phenomenal. I think I've literally used it every day since I got it. Stainless steel drinkware, every SEC school, over 350 more schools, everybody in the SEC. Top of the market quality for contraction and ice retention. Logo printing and product decoration done in Knoxville, Tennessee. Tons of designs and logos for every school. Their individual school stuff is beautiful too, not just their SEC tumblers here. Stainless steel sippy cups, tumblers, 40-ounce bottles, shaker cups. Promo code SE16 gets you 10% off at GameTimeSidekicks.com. This stuff is tremendous. Again, if you have those cheap tumblers and if you got teenage daughters, you got a bunch of them where the paint comes off after a few things in the dishwasher. That's not these guys. Like you can rub your finger across the paint. You can feel it. It's almost three-dimensional. It's so thick. Just a phenomenal product. Logos and stuff is not going to wear off. You will be glad you bought these. Get them for Father's Day. Get them for yourself. Get them for whatever. But just get them and use our promo code.
Dude, at my house, when the list of possible products came out, it looked like the NBA draft lottery. I mean, we had people boxing out. We were like going, yeah, but I used to clean the dishes. And yeah, but I folded the laundry. And everybody was trying to get in order to get the tumbler they wanted. That they've got great stuff.
What's your eye on, Graham?
Just looking at all these chats. We got way too many. Like my wife is in here talking about these. She said, Graham, please order us some of these cups ASAP. Like we need more cups, Brittany.
You need these, Brittany. Trust me.
Well,
yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Brittany, but we're going to have to make room out of the cabinet to bring new stuff in.
Jay, I can tell you what's in there right now.
You don't need to speak. You don't need to speak. You can just nod your Oxford upside down hat. We're all on the same page.
5-ounce glass bottles for a baby. That's what we got.
Well, hey, get those little mini airplane bottles. Knock them right out. That's my fatherhood advice right there. Little
quick nap.
Little Jack Daniels. There you go. Just knock it out. Nap. And yes, I have seen the multiple people who have joined me on my rare Sunday night appearances saying at least my shirt is on right side out. Yes, it is. Yes, it is today. And if you want to make certain I don't have to wear dirty shirts inside out, feel free to join the chat.
But what catches my eye? How about Auburn up 10-0 in the 6? They've had 0 issues this week.
Hey, that's a credit to Butch right there. That team showed up locked in.
They really did. I mean, they had really the only adversity they had was like late last night against Stetson, and then Ike Irish hit that home run. I mean, that's about it for them. And then like you got Arkansas who hadn't had any adversity at all.
Chris, hey, I know people gave us crap for it about saying Ike Irish was deserved to be, but he since we had that show about SEC season superlatives, he ain't done nothing to make us apologize for squat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Auburn and Coastal next weekend is where this is headed, and boy, that'll be a great one.
Coastal's pitching against that Auburn lineup. That'll be really, really entertaining.
All right, Josh. Not an endorsement.
Hey,
just leave it there.
There's nothing wrong with having a Coca-Cola before the game.
Mia has been on fire in the super chats. Gage Wood apparently is on fire in Fayetteville tonight. Thank you, Mia. What's the pitching line look like? By the way, Arkansas is not much coming up on squeeze play here, which is
what I'm looking at. It. Yeah,
right.
Ole Miss too. Ole Miss kind of disappeared from it too.
I've got the iPad next to me on Oklahoma and UNC because we're going to the 9th there, I believe, and OU has an 8-5 lead. Boy, if Oklahoma can come back and get out of that regional after a disaster from Kyson Witherspoon,
says a lot.
That would be one of the upsets of the tournament.
Chris, you asked for the line for Gage Wood, 3 2/3, 2 hits, 8 strikeouts, hasn't walked anybody. 62 pitches, 43 strikes.
Kentucky just gave up the lead.
How late are they?
Are you saying the Kentucky bullpen is leaky? Wow.
That's been an issue for a while now. And I guess that was off James McCoy. Look, let me see if they should have caught this. That was a line drive to right. That was a awkward attempt. I think McCoy normally plays right, so I don't know who was in there for him.
But it's not the real pitching,
McCoy. No, it's not. It is not. Oklahoma's the home team, by the way, tonight in Chapel Hill.
No Hadfield.
Nope. No McCoy.
We gave Gage Wood his flowers too soon, I guess. Because he just gave up a bomb. I have a feeling Arkansas will be okay.
I do too.
Joshua Davis just says that they're about to go to Gackle.
Why?
Might as well.
Yeah. Might as well. Why? I mean,
well, according to the chat, I guess he got a little.
Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, according to the chat, I guess he got rattled on the strike 3 call that I guess he thought he had and then gave up a bomb. So maybe that's your why.
Jeremy's got a fair point. I mean, yes, it was a bad day in the SEC, especially for the 1 seeds but Clemson getting bounced every bit as big a shocker.
Not to me. Clemson has just had a history of that. Although I did pick them to get out of it. Graham?
Oregon, 2-0.
Right.
2 and out. Not 2-0. 2 and out.
And Vandy, as Josh made a point last night, Vandy was almost in that conversation too.
For
going 2 and
right.
Yeah. 2 and barbecue.
100 plus? There's no way that'll happen. Especially if he's got an advisor.
Hey,
he's
Snead
got an advisor.
Great. Hey, Snead was great in his leverage situations before the walk-off. A lot better than he had been. I mean, after the crazy call on the ground rule double, it turned into a triple, and then striking out the side in the bottom of the eighth with Wake Forest in Tennessee. But It's been great baseball. I mean, let's talk about that for a second. I mean, there's a whole lot of emotional hurt feelings and a whole lot of teams who are looking up and wondering, how did we not win? How are we not advancing? Man, everything from 3-2 games with Mississippi State to 17-12 to you look up and it was like an Arena League football score. So
how about Southern Miss with a 10 spot the first 2 innings against Miami?
Well, if I'm going to complete the apology tour, after West Virginia, I owe one to Southern Miss too.
How about Deshaun
And
Harris
now they're about to be
Wright?
in a place to host a super regional.
Well, they've been there before.
I know they have, but Vandy losing, they now, if they prevail, they host the super regional, right? In the 16-1 draw?
They do. Yeah, you're right. They would.
I have 2 gripes about the tournament. One of them is the 8 o'clock Central start times. Why in the world that happens, I don't know. That's 9 Eastern. And guess what? 90% of your college baseball audience is probably in Central and Eastern time.
Correct.
So why are we doing that? I mean, 7 o'clock should be the latest. I mean, I guess what on 11, 2, 5, 8 is, I guess that's the problem. But man, I'd rather start at 10 in the morning and move everybody else up.
Yeah, that's brutal. That would be my number one change. Like, eliminate the 8 p.m. Central Time first pitch.
My number 2 complaint is just the ball gets out of the park too much. Homers are too cheap.
So
balls, bats, whatever it is, this is just nuts.
What's your fix for that?
Well, my fix, I think you could barcode the bats in case there's anything going on. And even if there's not, everybody would know. That's number 1. And number 2, the baseballs are obviously, I've heard for whatever issue, people have disagreements on what's causing the offense, but everybody thinks the baseballs are juiced.
The one I'll add, and somebody, I want to make certain I give him credit, Hayden Sneed put in the chat, the way the craziness unfolds, they should reseed in Omaha.
Yeah.
I mean, because you could have like the last 3 ones on the same side of the bracket, and that's no fault of theirs, and it's no fault of the 2s, 3s, and 4s on the other side of the bracket. But reseed it in Omaha and just go by a computer number. But, I mean, the college softball tournament this year, there were like 5 teams on one side of the bracket from the SEC.
Yeah. Yeah, it was all SEC, and then Ole Miss was the only SEC team on the other side.
Right.
By the way, did you see the pitch from the Oregon pitcher? What happened, Jay?
No, we're taping it. The whole family's gonna come in there and watch it in a minute. I won't tell you the outcome. Hear about it? Nope. You're speaking on a loud platform.
Just envision Randy Johnson hitting the bird. Something similar to that happened.
Why did Randy Johnson hit Mark Fidrich? See, Chris, I occasionally make an old guy joke just for you.
I know. Thank you. I appreciate that. R.I.P. Mark Fidrich. That was a sad ending. Yeah, he died. He was an auto mechanic. Now you're going to feel bad. By the way, Byers on for Kentucky, who's one of their better bullpen options. He was an auto mechanic, and he was working on a car, and the jack or whatever broke and fell on him and crushed him.
It's a bad way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's tough to get spared that way.
That's just wrong.
What? What? Man, you know me. I'm lug nuts.
I know.
You got a hat? You got a hat trick?
Are you kidding me?
Goodness.
Hey, all I need is one more joke, and I can get a rim shot. Of course I got a hat trick, dude. I don't show up with just one gun. I'm Doc Holliday. I'm your Huckleberry.
I'm your Huckleberry. R.I.P. Val Kimmer.
What? They put him on ice, man?
That's been a few weeks, hasn't it?
All right, this is it. I'm killing this joke.
A month or two.
It's dead to me. It's dead.
Tennessee's first regional home loss since 2001. They did lose in a super last year.
So, not to be mean, Josh, but how many regionals have they had from 2001 until Tony V got there?
Oklahoma hit another. Nope. Caught just short of the wall.
That was big for Oklahoma, though. That home run. It just feels like they need every run they can get.
How do you guys put in the baseball context of, is it leadership or momentum? Like Oklahoma overachieving, Georgia underachieving. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Oklahoma, I mean, they got a chance to go to the next day, and their best player completely crapped his pants. So,
Josh, what I meant is they lost a game in a super. Anyway, I thought you meant lost a game, period. Anyway, carry on. Go ahead, Jay. Sorry.
But, I mean, are these outliers or microcosms? Is this a testament to the chemistry or the coaching? When teams so poorly underachieve like Vandy did, like Georgia did.
I think some of it is tight,
like
tightness.
Yep.
I mean, Vandy was like cruising. You know, they won the SEC tournament. They get the number 1 seed. Like everybody's talking about how awesome they are, and then they really run into adversity game 1, and they win that one because a home run got overruled, and then like they just looked out of whack all weekend.
Yeah. I just think they were feeling it. I mean,
there's so
much.
much.
If you can't feel it this weekend, then when can you feel it?
Short series, man. Sometimes stuff happens.
Agreed. And it's baseball, and it's fickle and funny. And there's no crying in baseball unless you're the Marlins shortstop who made 4 errors in 3 innings and came off the field crying, and like everybody tried to give him a cosmic hug. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I get it. It's sports and things happen. But
wait, really?
We look for rationalizations or reasoning in why things happen. And I'm not trying to throw the Stephen A. Smith talk loud and throw a whole lot of noodles against the wall. I'm not trying to blame anybody. I'm just looking for – I'm stunned that Texas is teetering on the edge like a paper football touchdown. And Vandy's already done. And Georgia's done. And Kentucky, well, you know what? Kentucky's the least surprising of them all because their bullpen's been trash all year. But, I mean, we're going to look up and we're going to have like 4 SEC 1 seeds, and that's Tennessee, Arkansas, LSU, and Auburn, which is okay. And then maybe Oklahoma, which is going to get through, but even despite Kyson Witherspoon having hit the worst start since he was a 6-year-old playing in 10U travel ball. And, I mean, I don't know. I'm just looking for some rational thought on why this weekend was so disastrous. It's one thing to have a disastrous weekend when SEC's on SEC because then we can always just eschew it with it's good competition. But this was a whole lot of expectations and a whole lot of underachievements.
What I'll say about Oklahoma, like we had Skip Johnson on the show. Nothing about that man screams tight. Like he seems like they would be pretty loose and like they would have a lot of fun. And his players love him. And you see like what they do. Like they play extremely hard and they're always going to fight. And then just some of these other teams, like, did y'all watch Clemson today? Clemson looked tight.
Oh, they looked awful. They kicked the ball and threw it all over the yard. I mean, which just played right into what Kentucky is, right? Speaking of Kentucky, Cats have got a man on first with one out in the bottom of the ninth, trailing 13-12.
And so the other thing, guys, we got to talk about this Mississippi State stuff. So their season is over, and then less than 10 minutes goes by, and they make it officially official. Did you guys think they would do it that fast or wait until tomorrow?
I thought they'd at least wait a day.
Justin Parker looks like he's pretty pissed. Talking about how much of a distraction. Like, Jay, you asked about distractions earlier. I mean, he flat out said it's been a major distraction for State this weekend.
I believe that, and that's fair.
If it's not the portal era that it is, did they do it that quickly? I mean, because look in Omaha last year. I mean, that was the perfect, hey, the paint isn't even dry on the season yet, and we've got to do this next thing. By the way, Oklahoma just beat North Carolina, and so they'll go to a Monday night game.
Josh D. Penn says the Mississippi State plane was in Charlottesville in the 6th inning of the game tonight. Oh, jeez. So safe to say there's going to be a press conference tomorrow.
Yeah. So listen, we've got Florida State and Coastal Carolina have advanced. Is that it so far?
Feels like it.
Let's see. I'll just sweep the scoreboard. We've got, Auburn will be there in an hour. 10-0 on NC State. UTSA up 7-1 on Texas, top 7 according to what I've got here. Actually, top 8 now. LSU and Little Rock still in the middle innings, early innings of that one. Kentucky, West Virginia still going. Keep an eye on that one. And Texas has just hit a home run, I believe. Solo shot for, who is that?
Oklahoma just finalized.
Yeah, I did catch that. Oregon State, Southern Cal hasn't even started tonight. Arkansas 6-3 on Creighton. Bottom 4 according to the scoreboard, which has been lagging about an inning at D1. Southern Miss is not too far away from getting there. 12-5, top 7. We know Tennessee Wake's going to tomorrow night. Irvine and UCLA hasn't started. Louisville up 3-0 on Wright State, top 5. Ole Miss and Murray State, is that still 15-6?
Ole Miss just scored.
Again.
Field goal. It's now 18-6.
So that's headed to tomorrow night, it would appear.
Yeah, it's headed tomorrow night, and Ole Miss will probably advance. But they killed me on the parlay.
They did. Well, you could have hedged.
I did hedge.
You did? Okay.
I handled money, but I gave out a pick. And I can't after the fact, I still got to wear the L. Even with my Ronald McDonald hair.
SEC.
You guys have got to tell me to put a hat on.
I think I've only seen you in a visor, Jay. Your Auburn visor.
There are not hats made big enough. I mean, not since Abraham Lincoln retired the stovepipe have there been hats big enough. I mean, Peyton Manning has a 5 head. I've got like a 7.5 head as opposed to a 4 head.
I forget this. Sam, by the way, says he lost his house on your bed.
Sam, that's
sorry
on
about
you,
that,
bro.
Sam.
Sam, I mean,
Tough break.
You're dialed in. Get Tony Vito on you some money.
Is that another home run for Little Rock, or is that just a replay of earlier?
That's funny. That's funny, Joshua Davis. I have the same hairdresser as Frankenstein's bride.
Man.
Little Rock has the bases loaded with 1 out.
Unbelievable.
Could you imagine if they win that? Holy smokes. Arkansas, another home run.
I think I got sidetracked. Man, I mean, the ball's just leaving the yard left and right, everywhere you look. But I think the question you asked a minute ago, I think was in the spirit of like, what's going on here with all these upsets? Was that where you were going? I think we got sidetracked with a game update. What was the question you asked a few minutes ago? Because I had some thoughts on that and didn't get to them.
You talking to me or Graham?
You.
Okay, what was the question about my question?
We were
question a couple of questions.
You brought up a topic a few minutes ago, and I think Graham started to give an answer. I didn't get there because we were looking at some games, but I think it was something about why all the upsets. Was that what you were asking?
Not so much why all the upsets, because we kind of covered that earlier in the maybe we all underestimated some of the 3s and 4s. But why the underachievement or underwhelming performances from so many of these highly regarded SEC teams?
I don't have a good answer. I really don't.
I mean, because the phrase I used was, I'm not even certain Greg Sankey could spin this in a positive way, even if Ole Miss prevails and you look up, because Texas, they're going to still be in a dogfight. And Vandy lost. Georgia lost. And 2 of those that I thought were dunks, to be quite honest. And maybe we undervaluated Duke. But Georgia at Foley Field has been Lancelot around the round table. I mean, they've been almost unbeatable. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I am just looking for causation, not from over rationalization. I don't want to be the ESPN hot take of throwing stuff against the stones of so-and-so choked and so-and-so was a bum and so-and-so's not a good coach, because all these guys in the SEC are good coaches. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, but there was clearly a flaw. Did we over-evaluate this conference, or did the fact that every other school playing an SEC school viewed it as a Super Bowl opportunity or a chance to put your resume on the home plate, if you will, in future portal and NIL discussions? And a whole lot of, I mean, even some of the teams that may advance got drubbed by teams with much lower seeds and that we would have never expected.
Okay, I think there's layers to this. This is going to be a long answer, and Kyle, I'm going to answer yours first. Hey, look, if you guys win an Natty in baseball, that carries a lot of stuff. That covers up for a lot of pain. I would say if you guys get there and you're very capable, enjoy the heck out of it. And you've already prescribe
Agreed.
misery to football yet that we're not there. I mean, Arkansas has surprised some people. Arkansas was pretty competitive last year, more than we thought. So I wouldn't presume misery there for your football team. But okay, I'm going to give you my take on all this. Okay, and it's going to have different elements to it. Okay, one there's the baseball thing, right? It's not a sport where you just line up and you've got more physical talent than another team and you just win like football, which I think in football, and I know you know this, okay? I know I'm not trying to talk down with my answer. Oh, holy smokes, Little Rock has just gone up 5-3 on LSU. Man, this is crazy. Okay, back to where I was going. Baseball's not a game where it's just physical dominance. It is inches. It's bases loaded, 2 out in the ninth, a ball in the corner of the plate. You take the pitch. You're at the mercy of the umpire. Put a ball in the air, gust of wind blowing in, keeps the ball in the yard. Gust of wind going the other way blows it out. A quarter of inch on the barrel of where you hit the ball or don't hit the ball makes a big difference in where it goes. All kinds of little stuff like that. So first of all, I'm always going to lean on it's baseball. And oh, by the way, we're playing a bunch of short series. That's number one. Number two, as I said earlier, I just don't think we have a lot of opportunities to evaluate these teams because the ACC and the SEC are not going out, with the exception of South Carolina and Clemson, and playing each other on weekends. And when they do, I'll bet you a lot of the time it is, I don't know if it's state mandated or whatever, but you get my point. So there's just, we're all guessing. We're looking at teams, but they're not really playing each other during the season for us to know. That's number two. If you want to go individually, okay, I'll go down the bracket, explain why they're no longer here. Vanderbilt, hitting was a problem for a lot of the season. Hitting was a bigger problem this weekend than it's been. Vanderbilt had its worst offensive weekend of the year against pitching that was nowhere near what it faced in the SEC. That's what happened. Next, we'll go to Alabama got beat. 2 close games. Game number one for Alabama. Cade Snell gets another foot or two on a fly ball. It goes out. They beat Miami, go to the winner's bracket. Didn't happen that way. They lose a 1-run game to Southern Miss at home. That's baseball. I think Alabama's still a really good team. Mississippi State, weird weekend for reasons we pointed out. Their ace, who was going to pitch or not going to pitch, depending on who you listen to, pitched, and it didn't go well in the most important game of the series. Battled back and then ran into Florida State at home with more pitching. That's what happened. Oklahoma, to be determined. One of the surprises of the weekend was when Kyson Witherspoon got bombed. I thought that's curtains for the Sooners. It was not. They played really good baseball since. They'll take Oklahoma to tomorrow night. Florida got its worst pitching that we've seen from the Gators in, 2 months. Can't explain it. Florida faced much better offensive teams during the season. It just happened. Auburn looks like it's going to advance with flying colors. Texas started feeling like it was running a little bit more on fumes at the end of the year than it was. By the way, what's the Texas score?
7-2, bottom 8.
Okay. So that one's not looking great. Ole Miss, to be determined. Georgia, pitching. We knew if it happened to Georgia, it would be pitching. Kentucky, bullpen. We knew Kentucky's undoing would probably be the bullpen. It was. Tennessee, to be determined. Arkansas, looks like it's going to advance. So I would say when we get into a series level, for the most part, I would say it's the things that teams had an identifiable weakness in, got exposed this weekend for whatever reason, in ways that I don't think would happen if they played again. Like I think if Vanderbilt plays Wright State again today, they don't get no hit by a kid with almost no hit. for 8 innings by a kid with a 9 ERA, but it happened today. So I don't know. I don't see the biggest pattern I see it in is that the guy in the other dugout or the guys in the lineup or the guys in the other pitching staff quite often found a way to expose a team's biggest issue, and I felt like that happened time and time again this weekend.
Okay, and all of that is completely fair. But for the 2 or 3 teams that you said in the SEC that had season-long problems, that's on a coaching staff to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, as fundamentally sound as we have treated Kentucky all season, if you can't fix your bullpen, which has been a problem since early March, then you deserve to get walked to the curb because you didn't fix it. And I know you've only got the guys in your dugout. I know that. But you're either going to have to cultivate or figure out I'm going to use 7 guys out of the bullpen tonight because I got to win this game. They're each going to pitch to 2 hitters. And whatever the league rules are. And truly, there is no reason that Georgia is not the most talented team every single year with the talent in the state of Georgia. And that is the end of conversation. And whether we were talking about distractions about Mississippi State, whether we were talking about whatever, and they were poised to have somebody come in and beat them in Foley Field, and they did. But you know what? That now, extension or no, clock starts ticking because you now have raised the expectation, and you best go figure out a way to make Georgia elite. And they're not elite. I don't care what your super regional number was. You're not elite if you get bounced without getting to a super regional. And the talent in the state of Georgia that wants to go to the state of Georgia, that wants to go to UGA, bar none better than anybody else. I'll put Metro Atlanta area baseball up against Texas baseball, against Florida baseball, against California baseball. They all travel to go play travel baseball around Atlanta.
Yeah. I guess my question with Georgia would be, what's their NIL like for baseball? To me, it seems like they're all in on football and that's it. What else has Georgia been really good at?
I don't know because look at how many he landed one of the best groups of transfers of anybody.
You're talking about Wes Johnson?
Yes. I mean, they landed their whole lineup was transfers this year, it felt like.
I don't know. Like that's why I asked. Somebody said gymnastics.
I'll tell you. Okay, lineup. Alford, Mississippi State transfer. McCarthy, Kentucky transfer. Branch, Baylor, I believe. Trey Phelps did sign him out of high school. Robbie Burnett, UNC Asheville, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Henry Hunter may have signed directly with Georgia. Don't remember that one. Devin Obey, Duke. Rylan Zaborowski, Miami of Ohio. Daniel Jackson, Wofford. Christian Adams, I think he played at Florida Atlantic. Ryan Black played at UTSA. Like, that's their top, whatever I read off, that's their top 12 or 13 guys in plate appearances this year. And on all but a couple of them were transfers. And most of those were within the last year. Pitching staff. Brian Curley, VCU. JT Quinn, Ole Miss. Brian Zeldin, Penn. Alton Davis, Alabama. I don't know if Davis even threw this weekend. And there was some more down the list. But, I mean, he was doing it somehow, getting all those kids.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're definitely not playing for free. But just like to me, just compared to everybody else in the SEC, like everybody knows what Georgia is in football, and that it just seems like their second best sport lately is baseball, and that's it.
Yeah.
Somebody said Little Rock eating. Yeah, they scored another run. Wow.
Jay, I mean, what do you think? I do have one more thing. You talked about development. Okay, let's or fixing it. Okay. I guess the 40-man rosters helped you a little bit this year. It's going to make it harder next year. But, I mean, I don't know. These kids are hopping here and there every year. You don't get that long with them. Pitching, particular guys are getting arms hurt at a higher rate than they've ever gotten hurt before. You just don't have a lot of time to develop these same kids year over year over year. And with the transfer situation the way it is, you know, why sit and develop a freshman if you can just go nab someone out of the portal who's more game ready? So I think that's part of it. And you don't have a minor league to promote from. You don't have
your freshmen are your minor league.
Yeah, and there's fewer of them coming right now to the SEC for the most part than there've been.
Well, and you can get them at a more of a bargain basement rate because the price for freshmen in the NIL market's going to decrease. But you asked me what I think, and my thoughts on this are layered and deep. If you're Georgia, you can never be bad at baseball. Period. End of conversation. You just can't be. You should never, not only as the 1 seed, as a national seed, as a 4 seed, you should never be bounced for the regional. You should be a super regional team every single year. And before I came to Chattanooga, I grew up in Cobb County. I was a sports editor of the Mary Daily Journal, and they had a run of like 15 straight years where a kid who played high school baseball in Cobb County, right outside of Atlanta, where Truist Park is now, was a major league first-round draft pick. 15 straight years. Whole bunch of them went straight out of high school. Whole bunch of them went to South Carolina, went to Clemson, went to Georgia Tech, went to a slew of different places. So you just can't be mediocre at Georgia in baseball because you have too much talent. You can sling a dead fungo and hit a future first-rounder from Foley Field. Your question about NIL and about fix, I think you've got to now, and I think we see this in football because football is a little more advanced and they also spend more money. You're going to have to hire a GM for your baseball programs. You're going to have to get a guy in there who is managing the roster, not only in terms of salary in the NIL era, but also in terms of, okay, we're getting this freshman who can help us 2 years from now, but we're not going to have to overpay for him when he goes to Elon and he strikes out 116 guys in 58 innings, and everybody in America wants it. My question about Georgia and Kentucky is if you had these questions from February, and I have loved doing these shows with you guys, but other than me making stupid jokes or occasionally teetering on the line that makes Chris uncomfortable, the most common refrain has been Kentucky's bullpen and Georgia's pitching in general. And they are both in the make or break moment of their season. And we still have those questions. That's a failure in coaching. Truly, if you have a question that is season long and it does not get addressed, then it's either and this is especially true in college, it's either a failing in coaching in the practical matter, or you have failed to assemble a roster that is practically effective. And in that regard, they both fall in the college ranks on the coach.
Jay, I want to get your response to what Kyle Green said. I think it's a fair point. NIL geography matters way less than it ever has. Kids are becoming much more open to leave home for money. That has to be acknowledged.
It does. It completely does. But I don't know where Kyle Green grew up. I grew up equidistant from Auburn, Alabama, and Athens, Georgia before 316 got completely opened. And everybody I knew growing up wanted to go to Georgia. And yes, in the NIL world, but here's the thing about Cobb County and Gwinnett County. There are so many talented dudes. I mean, heck, there are probably like 7 Braves who played at East Marietta, the East Cobb Astros. I mean, like on the big league team. So, yes, you're 100% right. NIL is going to rule the day. But Georgia can underbid in a college world where mom and dad can come watch me, where I get to play for the team I rooted for growing up. College sports more than professional sports, you're going to get a hometown discount.
By the way, Wes and Jim, 2 regulars here, Oklahoma fans, congratulations, guys. Sooners played great today. You get a
they really
life to tomorrow. Just wanted to get that in. Yeah, I mean, here's the irony with Georgia, guys. And again, if you were here earlier, you heard this, okay? Wes Johnson's had 18 guys who hit 95 on the radar gun.
You can't develop 3 of those guys into reliable pitchers?
Yeah. One quick thing, Jim. We went live a couple hours ago, and so we didn't know what was going to happen there. Anyway. And here's the weird thing. He's a pitching coach. He was the pitching coach for the Twins.
Right.
Before LSU nabbed him out of Major League Baseball in the middle of the stinking season.
Yeah.
I mean, and that proves a few things, okay? I mean, talk about devoting resources to pitching. My goodness, if somebody told you 20 years ago a college team is going to get somebody else's pitching coach from a major league club in the middle of the season, like even after the season, I would have said you're nuts. Unless it's just a guy who had run its course and wasn't getting a job at the major league level. It's the best opportunity to grab a guy from the Twins mid-season. And he's got all these arms that just throw gas. And they had pitching problems. I don't know.
So 2 things. Number one, a lot of these SEC head coaches and some of the ACC guys, they make more money being a head coach in college than being a manager in the big leagues. And the other thing, like in college, you control and run everything. Depending on which organization you're with in the show, like sometimes these managers hardly have to do anything. Like they do what they're told from the front office.
Yeah.
It just depends on what you want. I'm sure Wes has a boatload of SEC experience. I'm sure he wanted to run a show and make a fortune doing it. And here he is in Athens.
Wes May with a very fair question. I don't think the ACC is better right now, Wes, but Roy Kramer couldn't even put a positive spin on what the SEC has done this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, it's astonishing. It really is. I never saw that coming. I do wonder, the offense too. Well, and I've heard a few ESPN guys talk about this. Like you're seeing, as someone today said, like my kid's 11 playing in something between open and travel or between rec and travel. They played some travel teams. We ran up a kid the other night throwing 66 at 11. You got kids throwing 80s at early teens, 90s in high school. And I do wonder, with all the emphasis on velo, are these guys developing secondary pitches? And when you're just seeing velo, and it's common from the time you're, a teenager. I mean, barely a teenager up. That's a lot easier to see and hit.
That's very fair. That's a very good point, Chris. There's a difference between being able to throw hard and pitch.
Well, and were you on the show with coach at Missouri, Carrick Jackson. Were you?
Yeah.
Did you do that one? I don't remember if this was the on-show conversation or the one we had with him after. But he said some really interesting stuff about pitching, and it's kind of that. And this is what I struggle with my kid. Okay, first of all, my job as a dad is to make sure that by the time he is good enough at baseball for it to be relevant, I have not in some way killed it for him by pushing him, by making him feel inadequate, by making him hate the game, whatever that looks like. That's my number one job as a dad. Just have him love baseball. If I do that, then I think the rest is up to him. But, okay, and this is where I struggle, okay? And I promise you this all ties back into what we're talking about. I've got a dilemma. Because if he gets to a certain point where he's throwing, I don't care how good his stuff is, if he's in high school and he's throwing 81, with 3 secondary pitches and throw it for strikes, I don't even know if that gets you a D2 scholarship anymore, right?
No.
Because everybody's looking velo. Mm-hmm. Well, all these guys that are just gassing it in high school, they end up having arm surgery before they're out of school. Some guys are even getting preemptively, to just deal with it then. And then, okay, so you don't get noticed. You don't get an opportunity, but then you're doing all the things that are antithetical to success. They're getting you hurt. They're not making you a complete pitcher. And I think that's part of the dilemma that everybody's in. And I think that just goes back to all the development issues. And again, look what Wright State did to Vanderbilt today. They had a kid that was up there pounding the strike zone with different pitches. It wasn't spectacular stuff. And then you guys got these. And I'm not here to pick on LSU and Georgia, but LSU and Georgia have had their share of guys that just come out throwing gas, but they don't know how to pitch or throw strikes yet. And Georgia got eliminated, and LSU's suddenly having a rough night against Little Rock with Jay Newt starting, who's a pro talent, but he walked a bunch of guys. So like you need that kind of premium elite stuff to get there, to get a chance at one of those places. But the stuff that makes you a pitcher, I wonder if that's getting skipped.
Not only skipped, but you then have to look at the tiers of the folks calling pitches or the preparation. If you're a high school coach, if you're a travel ball coach, and you've got, all right, I'll use an example close to home. You've got a 14-year-old girl who throws it north of 60, and she throws it by everybody. Do you not just, okay, here comes the old number one. You not just do the Rick Vaughn, and she pops everybody's mitt? So then she's not, because right now she's gassing everybody.
She can get away with it at this level.
Exactly. And so, it's on player development, it's on coaching, but you're 100% right, Chris. In terms of the conversations on fixes in pitching staff, this summer I'm gonna help coach a travel team, and I'm gonna work with the pitchers. And I've already had the conversation with all the pitchers on our team and all their parents that I'm not going to change anybody's form, because all these girls have been working with pitching coaches for years now. And for me to parachute in, how do you derail the house they have built to get to this level without just tearing it down and rebuilding it? You know what I'm saying? My philosophies are different than their philosophies. I'm just trying to figure out what they do well, what they can do well. And maybe I'm counteracting my own point earlier from how Kentucky or Georgia didn't fix their pitching problems, but because all of these guys who get to SEC baseball schools have had pitching coaches, since they were changing diapers and making lemonade stands in their driveway. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know what the answer is, but I'm sorry. This is no way bigger picture, and I love the layers of this conversation. Feels a little more like a summer conversation, but there's no way not to give Georgia, Vandy, and Texas an F this weekend.
No doubt.
Period.
No doubt. Yeah. Texas still alive, by the way. Just hit a home run, now 7-4, but 2 outs in the ninth.
I think
And
Randy
bases
Etheridge makes a good point in the chat too. He said kids may have better access to information, but their situational awareness in the game is atrocious because they don't sit down and watch games. Like kids today just watch highlights, like go to YouTube.
Yeah. I've got one who does. He loves it.
Watches, like sits down and watches a full game or most of the game.
Do not mention the Tennessee softball score. It's 11:06, and my daughter's in there watching the tape delay because we've been out of the house all day.
Yeah. We'll not do that.
And by the way, the game I was talking about, Jay, was yesterday, not the one today.
Correct.
Wes made a comment that I wanted to address here, and this is one thing I love about Skip Johnson. Love about him. He's figured some of this out. He took a chance on the Witherspoons and stuff. The Witherspoons were late bloomers. Here's another thing. Like, let's say just for random, if high school, if we all ended high school, if you graduated high school at 20, like I wonder how much different the system would look, right? Because like I kind of find this comical. Like you'll see ratings on best player. Like I remember Jordan Schaefer played for the Braves, was the best 13U player in the country at one point. You know, it was a marginal outfielder for a bad Braves team. Like what? And you see this all the time. Guys that are first rounders. You know, you see first rounders every draft that never make the show. And then guys that develop at 25 and nobody thought anything about ended up popping later, making all-star teams and that kind of thing. And I just wonder, the development cycle on this end feels like it's awfully rushed.
How much of it do you think is like kids growing up, they don't play multiple sports now? They just
I think that's a lot of it.
Pick and choose one sport.
Yeah.
Which is, it's harsh, but it's true, because having a kid who is pretty good at multiple sports, every coach will look you in the face and say, we want her to be well-rounded. And then their thought bubble that immediately pops up, but don't miss any of my shit. Because, I mean, so it is what it is. And I know this derailed into a tangent. I'm about to have to wrap it up. My pumpkin hour is getting here.
How about this? First time in 11 years, the top 2 seeds didn't make it past the regionals.
Man.
I know you guys have countered me on it all the way through. I don't know how many teams can lose their one. Even Oklahoma battling all the way back with Kyson dropping a floater in the punch bowl and trying to make a game of it. I don't know how many teams can lose their bona fide Friday night starter. And that was the kick to the shins for Texas. Vandy just gagged. I'm sorry. I hate that phrase. They were like 1 for a million with runners in scoring position. Chris, in our chat, you alluded that they got a terrible break on the ball that bounced and got called a ground rule double because it would have tied the game, but it didn't. But baseball, more than any other sport, you make your own breaks. And Vandy just choked. And I actually think Tim Corbin getting snippy in the press conference on Saturday really helped tighten his crew today. And, I mean, Corbin's normally got a very level hand and an even keel, and he was clearly irate. and he may have had issue with the reporter. And I'm not on that beat. You are. Maybe you can share more insight in that. But when you look like that kind of jackass in the post game, and again, but you got snippy, it then makes everybody else in your program snippy.
Yeah, I'm not going to go too deep into that, but there was some pre-existing tension there that dates back a couple of years. I'll just leave it at that.
But two of the teams that I think we almost universally felt best about, Arkansas and LSU, look poised to have their foot on the gas. And I got to tell you, those boys play baseball this weekend now.
Yeah. Somebody just asked about them. So, yeah, we'll touch on them for sure. They're up 11-0 right now on the bottom of the 8th. They just haven't had any adversity, really, and they just have cruised through their regional.
Well, and that's probably the reason we haven't talked about them, because I've got squeeze play in front of me.
And they're hardly on it.
Well, right. They're not on that at all, which, like, first of all, I love squeeze play. This is the best thing ESPN does at anything right now. But we've got a fourth screen available to us, and I'm not sure why we're not seeing it, even if it is an Auburn blowout. But, by the way, UTSA advanced, if we didn't mention that. Finish that one off. But Auburn, I don't think I've seen Auburn on there once since we've been doing this, and it's been an hour and a half tonight. I've got my iPad to the right on LSU Little Rock because that's close. So we haven't even – sorry, Auburn, don't blow people out, and you'll get talked about more, I guess is the moral of the story, right?
Well, but in the newspaper and the sports journalism world, if you blow people out, we know we're going to have you to talk about next week.
Yeah.
So we talk about the immediate reactions. We're not going to say anything about Texas and Vandy come Tuesday.
Yeah. I think if nobody's really talked about Auburn as a national title contender, but I'm telling you, if they can get more like Sam Dutton outings that they got early in the year, I think they have a shot.
Well, hey, as an answer to the point I had about Georgia and Kentucky that had huge pitching question marks, and it's on the coaching staff to figure it out. By middle of March, early April, we all said multiple times, the Auburn staff is Sam Dutton and ask E.F. Hutton. And now Auburn has now found a whole lot of guys that it appears like Butch Thompson trusts.
They started Andreas Alvarez tonight, who's a freshman with a lot of talent, but the results have been really – man, he shoved 5 innings, no earned runs. We have not talked about him in forever. I've seen him pitch. The stuff is really good.
Leagues, but if Andreas Alvarez does not make the big leagues, he's going to need to like carry a Mexican flag into like the WWE wrestling room and just say he is like the hot tamale or something. I mean, whatever nickname he wants to use, because that is a great name.
Yeah.
Josh, what did Coastal Carolina's coach say about the Sully stuff? I saw Sully's point of view of it. I hadn't seen any of the other coaches.
Georgia fans upset in the chat.
Who's upset?
This one. Bazoo. Yeah, tell us what happened with the O'Sullivan thing. We need a little context there.
He said he's listening to it right now.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Josh. Didn't see that. Hey, Boomin, you're right, man. And in our defense, we watch the SEC backwards, forwards, and sideways. So when I'm looking at your team, I did see some of these other teams play some, and we read the heck out of a stat sheet. But sometimes it's that stuff that's not on the sheet that shows up in postseason. And boy, with UTSA, and you know what, we probably should have thought more about that. UTSA did beat Texas a couple times. Midweek baseball is completely different, right? Very different pitching. And so I don't know how to translate that, but boy, that had some staying power this weekend. So congrats to the Roadrunners. Worst today, Kentucky or Georgia bullpen? I don't know. Maybe Kentucky's. I mean, at least in Georgia's, the ball gets out, and you know that going in.
Yeah, but Kentucky was cooked when their bullpen imploded on Friday night. What were they up? 3-0?
Yeah,
And gave up 4 in the last 2 innings?
That's what it was. Yep. That's
And then their bullpen got them there yesterday. Like their bullpen was good yesterday. That's how they got here. And today.
Yeah, but dude, your second favorite pitcher behind Fennell, Ben Cleaver, was a mother on Friday night and 100% deserved to win that game. And I 100% had money on them and 100% lost money.
I guess Cleaver did start game 1, correct? Yeah, that's
yes.
Okay. Now it's coming back. The bullpen blew it.
They were up 3-0 going into the 8th.
By the way, Josh is saying that Sully went after Coastal's associate AD and the entire field crew.
What?
Wow.
Here it is. Goodness.
Amen. Dude should be more mad at his pitching staff or his training facility. I mean, dear Lord, man, have your kids drink more milk. Every time I turn around, somebody's getting hurt.
Yeah,
somebody asked about the chances of the Mississippi schools hosting Supers.
Yeah, Gage Wood's a victim of Arkansas being too good tonight too, because I don't think they've been on squeeze play once since we've been doing this. But I mean, the chat's just been blowing up over his performance. Which let's check in on that one. Gage Wood tonight went.
Does anybody else hear the first name Gage and think of that little kid in Pet Sematary who got brought back to the dead and sometimes dead is better?
It's not my cup of tea, Jay.
No, I'm not a horror movie guy.
Don't do it.
That one's creepy. Big time creepy. If we did like a side tangent as Chris is looking up stats and we ranked like a Rushmore of movies from Stephen King books and or novellas, my list goes Shawshank, Stand By Me. What else you got?
Those are classics.
Shining.
Shiny's great. Good call.
Did you say Stephen King?
What about It?
Oh, Misery's great.
Misery was.
Misery or It?
Get the hell out of here with it. Are you trying to tell me a clown story? I mean, no. All right. Hey. The idea that's been floated about that we do story time with Jay. Have I told you my story about why I'm scared of clowns?
I gotta hear it. Also, You're not alone in this boat, by the way.
No.
What do you mean I'm not alone in this boat?
That's a very common thing for people just not to enjoy or like.
All right. So I'm 10 years old. I go to the Cobb County Shriner Circus at the Cobb County Civic Center with the Puffies, who are our family's best friends at the time. Michael Puffy was my best friend. He was a couple years older than me. We are sitting in the stands, fold-out stands in like a basketball arena. It wasn't like the Omni or anything like that. And so the clowns come in and they start looking around for kids. And I am a heavy set lad at 10. I'm buying my jeans in like the Men's Warehouse, for God's sakes, because I got to roll them up because I need like 36s. So they come pull me because I'm a round-faced fat boy. And I mean, clowns need clowns, and I was a clown. Still am a clown. I go out there and I see all these people. And at that point in my life, I was, believe it or not, a little bit shy. I projectile vomit like 4 feet directly in front of me. And the entire place just gasps about, oh my word. I mean, I don't even know what I had. I probably had Hormel chili. My mom was a terrible cook. But I don't even remember. I probably had Hormel chili for breakfast. I don't even really know. But it was everywhere. And at that point, I just go running off the stage screaming to this day. If I have a nightmare, there's a real good chance that there's a clown in it. So I'm having no part of it in any of these conversations.
Fair enough.
That's good. That's good, Timmy Ann. Cobb County clowns.
And Joshua, yes, I do look like an unmasked rodeo clown. I don't know if I missed my calling, because next time on Story J, I'll tell you about the time I rode a bull in Auburn, Alabama, and the bull's name was Nut Kicker.
Were you sober?
So far on the other end of the spectrum, all right, if the breathalyzer had been one of those like fair bullseye hitting with a sledgehammer thing, it would have shot directly and it would have ended up where Ike Irish's home run ended up today.
Back to Pluto.
I don't even know where my head was before all that.
I don't know what to say. Hey, I got a dozen of them I can rattle off right now, but I don't want to fire all the guns.
We have to save some material.
Yeah, on a Sunday night at 1:47 into the chat.
Yeah. All right, let's return to baseball for a moment. What did we know? We didn't talk any about Mississippi State, really, other than the whole coaching thing.
Well, just because the coaching thing kind of overshadows everything else.
Yeah, and if I were Parker, I'd probably be a little bit upset about that too.
Well, and I mean, he's also got to be upset, like he doesn't know where he's going to be next season. You know, like he took a gamble and moved his family to Starkville, and was with Lamonis for one full season, and after the Auburn series this year, they made the move. So now he's got to figure out what in the world am I going to do next. So I can see how a lot would be on his mind.
Yeah, Evan Thierry pitched really well for State today in the first game, but
yeah, that guy closed strong. Like he really did.
Oh yeah. Okay, so Gage Wood, 13 strikeouts in 6 innings, gave up the 1 3-run home run. And Gabe Gackle has picked it up with 5 strikeouts over 2 innings. So Arkansas struck out 18 guys in 8 innings. I wonder what the record for a 9-inning NCAA tournament game would be. I mean, Kumar Rocker got 19 by himself in a super.
Was that Duke?
Team.
Who was that against? Yeah, that's what I thought.
It was against Duke. That was a no-hitter. Yeah, some stuff about Ole Miss pitching. Yeah, where in the world do they go tomorrow? By the way, has Ole Miss finished that thing yet?
No, they're
Lord.
no run rules. What inning are they? They're in the.
Oh my goodness!
About to be in the top of the 8th.
I thought Little Rock just went deep with 2 on, but that was caught at the edge of the warning track. Okay, man, what was the total game time in Oxford today, and I know they're still playing, but my goodness, that was a marathon.
Yeah, it was. The first game in particular was and the game, obviously the game going on right now against Murray State, first pitch was at 7:15, so we're over the 3-hour mark.
Gosh. All right. UTSA people are here for it. We own it. We did. I thought that Texas and maybe Vandy had two of the easiest brackets. Didn't happen that way. Hats off to the other guys.
Well, I think we kind of universally said LSU and Arkansas were 1 and 2, but none of us said any doubts about Vandy or Texas advancing. But and we did earlier gave the Roadrunners their flowers.
Yeah. When I'm wrong, and congratulations to UTSA. So props to them. And I saw their head coach looked right at their AD jokingly and said, "Give me more NIL," in his press conference. Their AD was standing in the back room, and he wanted to make sure he heard him. So whatever that guy gets paid, he's worth every penny for UTSA.
All right. Hey, side question for the group, big picture. As of this morning, because in 35 minutes, we'll say this morning. Who's more disappointed? Texas A&M, who started the year number 1 and then struggled throughout and didn't make the tournament, or Texas, who got to number 1 and was perceived to be an Omaha favorite, and they're going home now?
Well, I'd rather be Texas, but A&M had a lot more time to warm up to that potential reality. I mean, starting in March.
To me,
but Texas A&M, you're right about the fact to warm up to it, but they were fighting to a place where we all thought they were going to be the world's most dangerous 3 until Missouri happened, and then it was a coin flip. Then it was a long shot they were going to get in the tournament anyway. But, Texas came in as the 2 seed.
Is that right? Texas was 44-7 against everybody not named Arkansas or UTSA. Is that right? Jeez. To me, I think it hurts more for Texas. Like your first year in the league, you win it, and then you don't make it out of your regional.
I think Vanderbilt's probably in the most pain tonight because that was the number 1 overall seed that nobody saw coming till maybe Friday or Saturday, potentially. Like they were not on anybody's radar as the tournament number 1 seed. Playing great
truth
ball.
Be told, for the next 12 years of Diego Pavia's career, Vandy's a football school now.
The next 12 years.
Wow.
We laughed at it could happen.
You never know. Man, just a litany of stuff that's happened in college sports over the last 5 years. Whatever you could have made up would not be as crazy as whatever the truth turned out to be.
Like they're both bad. Like we can't sugarcoat anything. Like it's an awful ending.
The SEC's had a terrible weekend. There's and hey, if you're an SEC hater and here for it, I don't blame you. I mean, this was a really good league, and I know now that's going to be probably seen as a clown taking whatever. And I still do think the regular season matters. We're this mode where nothing matters but the playoffs. Texas and Vanderbilt still had great years. They had a lot of great moments that you can't take away from both teams. Not to gloss over what happened this weekend, right? I still think it's a fantastic baseball league. Again, and watch what happens in the draft when you make an assessment of how much talent was in this league. It just didn't turn out this weekend. I don't know that I imagined, Well, first of all, we would have done better just rolling names out of a hat for regional winners than what we ended up getting. And it was not for lack of preparation. You can trust me on that. But this was wild.
Also,
and if you don't have a dog in the hunt, this is a phenomenal tournament.
Texas fans, how do we feel about Sloss saying gig 'em when they interview him live on TV today? He said gig 'em and not hook 'em. That couldn't have felt good. Who's UTSA matched up with now in the Supers?
They're going to get the winner of
UCLA's regional,
Irvine,
right?
and Arizona State. Where's that? I haven't paid a bit of attention.
That's
to
UCLA's regional.
Correct.
They're top second. UCLA's losing 2-0.
So Irvine knocked Arizona State out earlier. Those were late starting games too, by the way.
We could see UTSA in Omaha.
Yeah. No, they'll have to
right,
go.
boys.
Well, Jay, thanks for joining us.
Make a whole lot of our baseball junkies in here happy. I'm gonna leave it with y'all.
Good night, my man. And we'll probably do something in the morning. If you can join us, great. If not, then
I'll see if I can come up with a story.
okay. All right. Good night, my man.
See you, Jay.
See y'all.
See ya. And I think in the morning I want to have a little time to reset some of these Monday night games and look at the pitching, because I think that'll be it. I mean, like, I sit in front of a TV, I'm watching these, and I'm trying to keep up with pitch counts across regional. Like, there's so much information to digest. It is incredible.
Yeah, just because all the upsets, like, you kind of forget who's who and keeping track of everything.
Oh, did Southern Miss finally end off Columbia tonight? Or not? Who were they playing? Did they beat Columbia early? Okay.
Southern Miss 17, Miami 6.
So that'll be a rematch tomorrow night?
Correct. And Southern will be the home team, if that matters. Or I think, no, that's when they flip the coin, right? So game 3s, they flip the coin.
What's going on in, let's see, we've got Arizona Cal Poly in the title game, right? That hasn't started yet, or has it?
I think it started. I had it. Let me refresh. All right. NC State's on the board. Arizona's all over Cal Poly. It's 8-0 in the bottom of the third.
And if Arizona wins, then they advance, correct?
Yes. Cal
so
Poly
working
has
down
to beat them twice.
Yeah, working down the bracket, we got Louisville, Wright State, and if Louisville wins that, which it was up 4-0 last I checked, then Louisville is your winner there, facing Southern Miss, Miami. Florida State is already advanced. What did we say on Oregon State and Southern Cal? Oregon State's up 4-0.
Well, it's 4-1 top of the third.
And that is a Southern Cal wins. And we are, yeah, correct. So Oregon State wins. That's a Monday nighter. North Carolina, Oklahoma going to tomorrow night. Coastal has advanced. Is Auburn final now?
Not yet.
Okay.
They're going to the bottom
of the
ninth.
Yes, it is. Nope.
NC State's the home team in that one.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. So they've got to get 10 to stay alive against Cade Fisher, presumably still in the game. So that's the left side of the bracket. The right side, UTSA is advanced. We'll get either UCLA or Irvine. Is Ole Miss still going?
It is. Bottom of the 8th, just started.
Okay. So presumably we'll have a rematch, Ole Miss and Murray State tomorrow night. Does that feel pretty safe at this point?
Let's just say it's trending in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. But and Duke and Oklahoma State tomorrow night, is that correct? Or are they going now?
Hold on, let me see.
Oh, they're going now. Duke's up 3-2 in the it's final. So Duke has won. Missed that one, I think.
So
let me double check.
Duke and the Supers.
Yeah.
That is right. So their
Okay.
second time in the Supers in the last 3 years. So Duke is either going to host a Super against Murray State, or they're going to have to go to Oxford.
Little Rock is still up on LSU.
Yeah, but LSU's making some noise. 2 on, 2 out. LSU's already scored once in the 5th.
And where are we in Arkansas? Top of 9. Oh, Arkansas is 1 out from closing it out, it appears.
Yeah.
With Gackle still pitching.
Preston Shaw. Do I think Parker's going to stay at Mississippi State as a pitching coach? I mean, their plan, like what their media is saying, is that they're going to hire Wake Forest as pitching coach, and he's going to make almost $1 million a year.
Goodness.
Yeah, a Murray State Duke Super Regional would be wild.
Goodness.
How big's that ballpark in Durham? Can't be that big.
Do they play in the minor league park?
No.
Or do they? No, they play on
maybe like every once in a while, but they have an on-campus stadium.
The minor league park is where they play the league tournament, correct?
Yeah, and it's awesome. No, that
Yes.
ballpark is legit.
Arkansas trying to close it out. Auburn has got 1 out to go, I think. Ooh. Little Rock just got out of it. LSU left 2 on. Oh.
Props to Little Rock. From what I can tell, like he is not throwing his top arms either. For Little Rock.
A little longer in Fayetteville.
What happened in Fayetteville?
First and third.
2 outs. Yeah, could you imagine a West Virginia Little Rock Super? Jeez.
There goes Arkansas. Auburn has officially advanced. So congrats to Butch Thompson and the Tigers.
So more than likely facing Coastal.
No, they are.
Okay.
And that'll be at Auburn.
So again, if you like polar opposites, that's what that Super is. Auburn offense against Coastal pitching.
See, I don't agree. Auburn's pitching I like a lot too, but I get what you mean. When you think of how they're built, you think of Auburn probably a little offense first and then pitching, and Coastal is definitely pitching. Coastal got some future big leaguers too, potentially. Bodine, their catcher, and I think there's another one there too.
Did you see ESPN's list, by the way? They ranked every team in the tournament and who's got the most talent according to scouts. Like who's going to get drafted. Well, Tennessee was number 1.
Of course.
And like we have talked about, it's a lot of SEC flavor.
Okay. Do you have it in front of you? I'm going to guess.
Hold on. Let me see if
are we talking about on the roster period, or are we talking about just draft eligible this year?
on the roster period. So this is counting like the next 2 drafts.
LSU would have to be near the top. Arkansas would have to be near the top. Maybe North Carolina. Texas. Maybe not as much this year, but certainly. I mean, Blue will still be a
Every
first
team
runner,
you're
I would
saying
bet.
is on there. I just thought Tennessee was number 1. I'm still trying.
Florida State, maybe.
Yeah. Because
Arnold
they had
is
that
potential 1-1, and
Arnold, and then the ACC Player of the Year, Alex.
Florida would be on there. If you want to go a little more forward-looking, I think Vanderbilt would be on there.
Okay, I think I got it. Yeah. All right, you want me to go through it now?
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 1, Tennessee. The top prospects they have: Liam Doyle, the shortstop Gavin, Andrew Fisher, Marcus Phillips, Levi Clark, who's 2027, Dean Curley, and AJ Russell.
Yeah.
And again, this is according to ESPN. They're number 2, and this is only the top 2 rounds. I meant to say that.
Oh, okay. Well, that might change some things.
Arkansas is number 2.
Really? Okay. I would have thought LSU would have been ahead of Arkansas.
SEC Player of the Year, Aloy, Gagewood, Ryder Helfrich, Zach Root, Charles Davalon, Cole Gibbler, and Gabe Gackle. LSU is 3.
Helfrich's a second rounder now?
According to ESPN.
Okay. I knew he had a really good summer, and that certainly helped. But
LSU with Cade Anderson, Derek Curiel, Kason Evans, Anthony Ianson, Stephen Milan, William Smith, Daniel Dickinson.
what about I guess Shores is probably more like a 3 or 4 round.
Yeah. Again, guys, this is top 2 rounds, anybody on the roster, so not this upcoming season. Number 4 is Texas. Rodriguez, the third baseman, who's a 2027 kid. Valantis, which everybody knows about. Jason Flores, Max Ballou, Ethan Mendoza. Yeah. Florida was 5.
Was Spencer on there?
4.
For Texas.
No, he was not.
Okay, he was, I think, maybe inching that direction before the injury.
The last sentence, Jared Spencer would have easily qualified before his injury.
Mm-hmm.
Florida's 5 with Liam Peterson, Aiden King, Brendan Lawson, and Luke McNeely.
Oh, McNeely. Okay.
Florida State is 6. Jamie Arnold, Wes Mendez made it. The Ole Miss transfer. Yeah. Shortstop Alex, who's the ACC Player of the Year, and then Florida State's second baseman. I think Drew. Do you pronounce it Farot?
Farot.
Yeah, Farot. Wake Forest is 7.
Yeah, the shortstop Merrick Houston.
Chris Lavonis.
Yeah, and then the outfielder who's a first rounder but has been hurt and isn't playing. Ethan
Conrad. Yeah.
That guy. Correct.
Oregon State is 8.
Arquette. Caraway.
Dax Whitney.
Okay.
They only got 2.
Oklahoma. Oh, okay. Say what?
Oklahoma comes in at number 9.
Witherspoon, maybe both Witherspoons and Carmichael.
Correct. And Crossland and the shortstop.
Crossland moved up. Oh, Willits is on there. Okay, I wouldn't
Yeah.
have guessed that one, but yeah,
T-
I think Crossland's last month really helped him.
TCU comes in at 10.
Really? That's another team that flamed out.
Yeah, they did.
0-2.
2 pitchers and an outfielder for TCU.
How deep does the list go?
It stops at 12.
Okay, who are the next two?
Mississippi State and Georgia Tech.
State would have Ace Reese.
Correct.
Maybe Pico Cone.
No, Pico's not
I think he
on
missed.
it.
Let me think.
They're saying the knock on Pico is his age.
Well, and maybe depending on who you believe, health.
Yeah.
Gosh, who for State am I not thinking of? Don't tell me.
Stevens.
Who?
An outfielder, Nolan Stevens.
Oh, Stevens. I thought you said Evans.
And Ryan McPherson.
Oh, McPherson. Okay. Is Sullivan any kind of a prospect? I don't think I've really seen him on anyone's list.
The thing with him, like, what position is he going to be?
Yeah.
Like at State, he just DHs and then he pitches in the midweek. You know, like, what would his future be?
Anybody not on that list that you're surprised?
I mean, not really. Who is the injury? Jared Spencer for Texas, but again, that's just injury.
No Georgia either. Although most of Georgia's guys are probably outside the top 100. Like, they've got a lot of guys that will get drafted, but I don't know that they've got like a first rounder.
They
Curly's
didn't even
probably
make
a second rounder.
They didn't even make the honorable mention.
Who was honorable mention?
Alabama, Auburn, Vandy, Oregon, Ole Miss, and North Carolina.
Oh, I would have put Auburn in the top 12. And I think I would have put Vandy in there too.
Yeah, the thing about
go ahead.
Well, Auburn, they got, Ike Irish is going to be one of them, and then all the freshmen that they have.
Yeah, I mean, Chatterton, Rimbert, maybe Terrell down the line. Yeah. Where's all Vandy's talent? A lot of it's in the freshman class. Even though Nye got hit hard today, he's considered a first rounder. I think Brody Johnson's going to get there, and I think that Rustin Rigdon's going to have a shot to get there. And Riley Nelson's kind of going up boards a lot quicker now. I think Vanderbilt's got a shot to get him back, though. I think he's going to give it one more year and see if I can move up. Auburn's freshman had 10 hits tonight. That's remarkable.
Incredible. We got a super chat, by the way. Did you see it?
Oh, no, I did not.
I think it was about.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Arkansas. Okay.
Biggest surprise from the weekend. I mean, I don't know where to start. I think Vanderbilt and Texas being eliminated is the 1-2s.
Yeah. That's it. That hasn't happened in 11 years. That's the answer.
Florida basically no showing for a regional. Didn't think would happen. I was worried about the competition getting them. I wasn't worried about them getting them. Themselves, that is.
The donkey bud. He says the whole weekend.
He's just about right. I mean, Georgia, we kind of said that regional was sneaky good with Duke and Oklahoma State for different reasons, but we all went with Georgia because Foley Field, they've just been invincible there nearly. And by the way, Texas and Vanderbilt barely lost at home this year. I mean, all these home field advantages that carried so much weight in the SEC, they meant nothing this weekend, apparently.
Yeah. Yep. But like, how much of that do you consider matchups? Like UTSA, you knew they were going to have the chip on their shoulder. They got experience with Texas, and then I feel like Louisville and Vandy play all the time.
Yeah. I still couldn't have. I mean, like I said, I could have drawn names out of a hat and done better than I did this weekend.
Same.
Well, and you killed it all year in the picks.
Mm-hmm. But again, like, it's a different beast when you go from watching the majority of SEC teams to like trying to focus on teams from all over the country, you know?
By the way, can you carry the chat for a minute? I think I'm going to have to get a charger for my camera.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Daniel Gomez says, who's the favorite to win in Omaha now? Good question. I wish Jay was still in the chat because he could actually look up the odds and everything. I know Jay likes to use FanDuel, so that would be an interesting thing to look up to see what the odds are now. My guess would be, I mean, somebody like Arkansas, their odds are probably going to go way up as far as making a deep run in Omaha now. Zach Dixon with a super chat. Thank you, Zach. Which confirmed SEC teams do we think can win tomorrow? Well, let's see who would be in that conversation. If Ole Miss wins and Ole Miss is 3 outs away, Ole Miss would be in that conversation. And then if LSU loses to Little Rock, that would be another SEC team in that situation. Tennessee's in that conversation. They got to play Wake Forest tomorrow. Chris, we got a super chat from Zach Dixon asking which confirmed SEC teams do we think can win tomorrow? And I was just going over all the potential SEC matchups. And the ones that I know of are Tennessee, Wake Forest, more than likely Ole Miss, Murray State, and depending on what happens with this LSU Little Rock game.
I don't rule anybody out for anything anymore. Like, we will do picks on the supers, and I just almost feel like giving a disclaimer, like, pay no attention to this based on what we saw this weekend.
I guess Oklahoma would be another one, right? Oklahoma, North Carolina, like they're going
sure,
tomorrow.
Why not? Yeah, I mean, here's your tomorrow nights that I've got. By the way, is Ole Miss done?
They're in the top of the ninth. Ole Miss is the visiting team, so they got to go to the bottom.
Gosh, Little Rock is going into the 7th with the lead.
Okay, it seems like their pitching has like been good enough to get them out of jams.
Are we done in Nashville yet? I think that one's still going. It is. Louisville's going to win that regional, it appears. Did not have Louisville potentially shutting out Wright State on the card either.
No, especially with what Wright State did to Vandy. Guys, I'm telling you, the Little Rock stuff, like, the only reason I know so much about Little Rock is I did the OVC baseball tournament, and I talked to their coach a ton just because they kept winning, and they ended up winning the whole thing. So, again, their story, they lost 6 position players, and they lost 4 pitchers for, like, several weeks. And then they finally got everybody back healthy, like the final 2 to 3 weeks of the regular season. So now they're just starting to click.
See, tomorrow night. Do we only have one? Well, no, we have 2 confirmed SEC matchups tomorrow night.
4.
Carolina and Oklahoma. Oh, and Tennessee and Wake. And who else? Well, Murray State and Ole Miss, we're presuming, but that's not over.
And then potentially LSU Little Rock.
Oh, correct. Okay, so we're projecting, and that's fine.
No, they Little Rock won the OVC tournament outright. The tournament you're thinking about, Tress, is the A-Sun tournament. That was 7-hour weather delay between Florida Gulf Coast and Stetson, and the A-Sun just gave it to Stetson.
Man, we have a ton of comments.
We just got gifted 5 memberships. Yeah.
Very kind of you. We will at some point do some members-only content. I cannot tell you when. I've been busy enough with the free stuff, but we haven't forgotten that.
Yeah, we'll try to get some more guests on too.
Sure.
And somebody asked about pitching matchups for Ole Miss. Guys, I have no idea. Like literally no. Like Mason Nichols came out of the bullpen today.
What's our first start time for the games tomorrow?
Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. I don't even know if it would be listed. Yeah, everything I'm saying, everything is TBA.
I feel like we have evenings and maybe some early afternoons. Usually.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find out at some point tonight officially, because some of these games will probably be on ESPN2 or something like that.
Well, and I think we'll probably in the morning try to do a stream that's an additional reaction to maybe some of the stuff that wraps up after we're done, and then looking at the pitching for tomorrow, just because I will go through everybody to see what's left. But I haven't had time to do. I've done some of it, but not all of it. And I've got to run the gamut of radio shows in the morning. So
yeah. How you doing? 70 says he hopes Ole Miss plays around 5:30. That would be a big benefit. It's a long day at the office today for the Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
And Tress, yes, you are right. So in the regular season finale for Little Rock, their 3-game series, they only got one of those games in, and that's a big reason why they clinched the 8 seed in the OVC tournament. So they finished like 1 game above. I think it was Western Illinois.
Yeah. Josh, I say post the link in the chat. I don't think we can play it here because I don't know if there's any copyright stuff in play, but people can see it. They went after Gary Gilmore? Really?
I'm telling you, like, it's on social media if you want to watch it. Like, it's pretty wild.
Oh, Guevara left the game tonight? I didn't see that. Or last night, excuse me. No, I mean, that missed that in the tournament of games.
That's kind of, man, that's like hit the story of his career right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Butch just told me, like, last year they didn't think that he was going to be able to play at all, and then he kind of was ahead of schedule, and they put him out there at like 60-70%.
Yeah.
And he kind of regretted it.
The host reps. Okay, sorry.
I was just going to say, when he's healthy, Guevara is a difference maker.
Yeah. The host reps, those are the NCAA assigned guys, right? Like there's always one guy that runs the point for a regional. And a lot of times they're former coaches. That would be a little unusual if Gilmore maybe was the coastal guy. But I mean, Gary Gilmore, from everything I knew, was just very well respected in the game. Didn't follow his career closely. No, they won it in 2016. But it just seemed like he was extremely well liked.
He is very highly thought of.
Was knee the issue with Guevara before?
So he tore his ACL.
Okay. We have the D3 World Series now on, or we did for just a minute on Squeeze Play. Maybe we wrap this up before long. I hate to do it with LSU still playing, but
to me, that's the biggest one. because I mean the West Coast teams have a long way to go, and they don't really impact the SEC, except for maybe that UCLA, UC Irvine, and just what they're matched up with UTSA.
Correct. So the teams that have moved on for sure: Florida State, Coastal, Auburn, UTSA, Duke, West Virginia, Arkansas. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then we have Southern Miss and Miami tomorrow night, North Carolina, Oklahoma tomorrow night, Tennessee, Wake tomorrow night. And I think everything else is still technically up in the air in terms of needing to be set. Like Ole Miss, Murray State will be settled probably within a few minutes, and Louisville will move on with 2 more outs.
I'm getting a lot of good questions here. Do we know why Arkansas's first baseman wears an earpiece? Haven't seen any other teams do it. Now, some teams will. The catcher will. Some of the catchers have like a keypad on their shin guards to type in what pitch and everything. But I don't know. Like different coaches and different teams have different philosophies. It's more so about defense and alignment and all that stuff.
The UGA not buttoning the jerseys thing got a lot of run this weekend.
Why do you think that is?
That one got spicy too.
It did early.
The bat flips, and boy, Georgia heard about it on Twitter afterwards too.
I'm sure they did. I don't know. I'm not a big believer in like trash talking, because especially in the game of baseball, like it's the ultimate game that will humble you in a split second.
Baseball has changed so much at the college level in the last even 5 years.
It has. And if you watch Major League Baseball, it's just like night and day different.
Mm-hmm. Well, Major League Baseball's changed a lot too, but college is just
you don't see the stuff that you see in college at the big league level.
Like you used to see a bat flip, like just not even one that would register on the radar now. 15 years ago, and that would be cause for the benches to almost clear.
Yeah. Yep. And like minor league baseball, guys, if you're near a minor league baseball game, go to it. Like it is so different, and they go by like a normal start time or length of game, I should say, is like 2 hours and 15 minutes. Games aren't on TV. It's just so fast.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be seeing the Sounds this week. They're playing Atlanta's AAA team. Are
you really? It's a beautiful ballpark.
Oh, it is. And my son is at that stage where he likes to go and get cards signed.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go do that.
Yeah, it's the ultimate place to get autographs and everything.
Yeah, we got Ethan Holiday last year. Excuse me, Jackson Holiday. Ethan's the one still in high school.
Ethan was watching his brother next to his dad today. Did you see that? Like they were all there in the ballpark.
Yeah. They're not, I guess they're the closest thing we've got to the Mannings. Well, that would be the Ripkins.
Oh, yeah, I would say Ripkins, yeah.
But, I mean, the Holidays have got a pretty good run going there.
Somebody's asked, Dylan Hughes, what's the biggest upset so far? Like, to me, the top 2 seeds. Yeah. Vandy, Texas. Whenever history's made, like that hasn't happened in 11 years where the top 2 seeds don't win the regional. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, that's a big deal. Arizona, good season for them. They're first in the Big 12. Remember, they got off to an awful start. They played in that tournament in Texas in week 2, and they just got demolished in every game they played in, and then they just figured it out after then.
It's a long season.
It is. They're saying hamstring for Guevara.
Saw that. Yeah, I think LSU will end up finishing this. It may not be tonight, but Little Rock taking LSU to Monday night would be a whoa.
Yeah, it really would. That would be an eyebrow raiser. That's a good one too, Will. He said the Bell family. Gus,
Oh my
Buddy,
goodness.
David, and Mike.
Yeah, that is. Did you just see what happened in Little Rock?
What happened?
LSU had a shot there, just hit a screamer down the line. First baseman dove for it, and on his dive, he basically landed on the bag for a double play. Like that should have been. If that gets by, that is at a minimum second and third.
You said it
And
was the
probably
third baseman?
No, the first baseman. Just a screamer hit down right, and he dove, grabbed it, and basically as he fell down, almost landed on the bag.
So that guy has a good story. Angel Cano. He's a JUCO kid. He played JUCO ball in Kansas, and he was going to Kansas, and Kansas dropped him like at the absolute last second. At the very last second, they dropped him. And so Coach Curry at Little Rock kind of got tipped off about him and said, "Hey, we'll take you, no questions asked," because he had to have shoulder surgery, and like he couldn't do anything in fall ball. And so Coach Curry said, "Hey, we got a spot for you, no questions asked. Come here." So like had surgery, no fall ball, and here he is making plays in Baton Rouge.
Mid-major picks for Omaha, man. God help you if you get anybody right for Omaha at this point. I mean, Arkansas is looking strong. I still think the way Coastal, well, problem with the Coastal is runs into Auburn, and that's in Auburn,
which is significant for the Tigers. I could see them breaking their program record again for single game attendance record.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh. Yeah, Auburn's pitching, I think, has been kind of one of the slept-on storylines of the tournament so far, and all the carnage elsewhere that's gotten our attention.
Well, and the good news for them, like it's at the right time. I mean, we were all kind of wondering what the pitching would look like, and then it's just been awesome.
See, I never lost. Their pitching depth really grew on me as the season went on. I was just worried about Dutton, and I still might be a little worried about Dutton, but I'm starting to believe they got the arms to cover it either way. And they're old, man. They got a lot of old dudes in that bullpen, and I like that.
Yes, they really do. You remember somebody said in the chat not that long ago, but they said Joseph Gonzalez has a chance to come back next season.
What? Oh, yeah, he's still in school and he's graduating, correct?
Yeah, I that was news to me. I know Auburn is really, really high on him, and Butch especially, but he just has never been able to stay healthy.
I'm rooting for that one. I mean, because he was a Team USA kid.
Yeah.
And he was weird. He was like a throwback to, I don't know, Greg Maddux doesn't even do it justice, because Greg Maddux was a strikeout guy compared to him. And I don't say that disparagingly, but he just rolled everybody over. He'd go through a game, he'd go 6 innings, give up 1 run, strike out 2, and you did nothing against him.
Yeah. Deacon, it might have been you that mentioned it, but one of the Auburn fans in the chat mentioned it. If that's the case, like Auburn can be even more dangerous next year, because they're going to
Auburn will be,
yeah, they're going to go in the portal hard again too.
If you're making an early top 5 for next year, I think Auburn's in there.
Yeah, just because of all the freshmen.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of dumb to do it because we don't know what in the world the portal is going to look like. I think Vanderbilt's going to be in the conversation. I would think Texas will be in the conversation probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least 3 SEC teams.
But if I'm circling a team for next year, just based on what we've got right now, knowing nothing else, Auburn might be my team. Although, I mean, losing Dutton and Iris is pretty big. But, man, that freshman class was so loud. Well, and I'll tell you, let me hedge my bets a little bit. Well, I don't know when guys run out of eligibility or don't, and Auburn will probably lose some of those old arms. So I might have to rethink that. But, man, that freshman hitting class alone is enough to get you excited.
It is. And, yes, like, God, Arkansas, they're saying we're not talking about Arkansas. Arkansas is going to be good. Arkansas is
always good. Yeah, I just don't know the cast of guys yet because I feel like they lose a lot of guys, don't they?
Like, what does somebody like Brent Iredale, what does he do, you know?
Well, he's like a top 200 draft kid, so I would think he would go.
But what if Arkansas is like, we're going to, like, what's your number?
Yeah, I mean, I would think they'd be capable.
Yeah, very much so. It was Deacon, by the way. He said he mentioned the Gonzalez thing a month ago. I thought I remembered that.
Yeah, I mean, that did come up in conversation. Let's see, Arkansas next year will have Kuhio Aloy, I think, is back. Vahiva's gone. Kojal will be back. Did they get Justin Thomas back? I guess Souza will be back, hopefully healthy. Root's gone. I think Gackle's back, correct? I can't remember where they are with all these relievers. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it's going to look like. I mean, Dave Van Horn's pretty good at recruiting and in the portal, but they just, I mean, like clockwork, they're going to be in the conversation.
Yes, every year. As long as he's there, they're in the mix.
McMurray is gone for sure. Well, I mean, I guess for sure. Hey, this is great. Yeah. Hey, Bruce. Auburn's. I got a lot of trust in what Butch Thompson's doing right now.
Yep, me too. Think of just think of all the awesome head coaches in this conference, and they just added another one that has won a natty.
Tennessee's another one. That freshman class of hitters is pretty good, and you know that he'll kill it in the portal too.
Yeah.
Jacob Mayer's on for LSU, by the way. That's kind of been an interesting develop. They're throwing him a lot more in postseason. I don't know, maybe he wasn't fully healthy earlier or what the deal was, but
I think they just to me, they definitely trust him more. They trust him more so than William Schmidt.
Well, yeah, Schmidt's a freshman. Mayers, I think, is a junior. Mayers is draft eligible too. And he was a two-way guy at Nichols last year who never really I don't know that he's played at all for LSU this year in the field. I think wasn't he like the conference player of the year?
Who are you talking about?
Jacob Mayers.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah, I don't think he hit this year for them.
Sorry, I'm distracted by the Ole Miss game.
Is that still going?
It's 2 outs, 3-2 count.
We headed to the 8th in Baton Rouge. What inning are we in now?
They just went to commercial break in that one.
We are headed top 8. I'd like to finish it out, but I swear I could go to sleep in 5 minutes.
Of course, Murray just hits another double. LSU Little Rock, top of the 8th, nobody out.
UCLA just got a bomb.
LSU's the visiting team.
UCLA is now 7-0 on Irvine.
Have you ever been out there to their stadium?
UCLA's?
Yes.
No, I've been to Stanford's.
I've been to both. Stanford is light years ahead of UCLA. I've seen high school stadiums nicer than what UCLA is working with.
Really?
Yes.
You know, the one that shocked me, and it's been 15 years now, was Cal. And this was right before the drop baseball conversation. Cal was an absolute dump. And that's at a time where Cal was still getting to Omaha, every few years and so on. Like the press box was like a trailer.
Well, they dropped the program, didn't they? Or at least for like 5 seconds and then brought it back.
Yes.
You remember, and one year they made it to the Supers and they couldn't. They were supposed to host, but they couldn't because they don't have lights.
Yes.
It's final. Ole Miss won, by the way.
Okay.
So to me, for this Ole Miss Murray State game tomorrow, it's just going to be a slugfest. Like whoever can just out hit the other team. Like nobody has any pitching left. Murray State, that when they played Georgia Tech, that game was like 13-11, and they used a bunch of arms. I mean, neither team has a lot of arms left. Yeah, so the good news for Ole Miss, how you doing 70, you're right. So Morse will be on the table, and then if you dare, go back to Riley Maddox. Good news tonight, Ole Miss only used 3 pitchers.
I'm starting to think Little Rock might actually be pretty good.
I'm telling you, man, they it's just funny that I literally just had them last week. So just talking to their coach all week long, he just said what he's been telling his team is they just wanted a seat at the table. Just get a seat at the table to make the conference tournament. It's 0-0 clean slate for everybody. And he says that's what he's been telling his team over and over and over again, and it has certainly resonated.
We need next year's research interns, honestly. I mean, we were the research department, the hosts, the producers, the graphic designers, all of it this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, questions about O'Sullivan. I have not heard the clip yet, but boy, it has been talked about.
Yeah, it's not hard to find on social media.
Two outs, left fielder in Little Rock, or for Little Rock, makes a catch crashing into the wall of Curiel. Are we worried about LSU's bats?
I think it's starting to get fair to ask that question.
Well, the things with LSU are after their big four has been a question on the mound and just the consistency of the lineup. Remember, they played one of the worst, relatively speaking, schedules in the league. I mean, Jared Jones didn't hit in the league. Curiel tailed off.
But, I mean, let's say they don't win this, Chris. I mean, again, in Alex Box Stadium in a do-or-die game, I mean, it's going to be tough to pick against them with whoever they go with on the mound. Like, do you think Little Rock can score 4 or more runs tomorrow night?
Man, they look confident too. They're making all the plays in the field. I mean, you see teams just fall apart in Baton Rouge on this stage.
Yeah.
And their body language is just like we belong.
Well, they played 2 games in Fayetteville. They had a back-to-back midweek, and Coach Curry was telling me, he said, they played tough against Arkansas. I think they lost like 10-0 and like 4-0, 4-1, something like that. So they played in tough environments. By the way, Little Rock, they're the only team out of the OVC that has a win against a ranked opponent. They beat Ole Miss and Oxford on the Kids' Day game.
Oh, that's right. Hey, how about that? I'd forgot. That was the one that was going to wreck Ole Miss's chances.
Yeah.
Right. And look now.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That was in a stretch. Little Rock, that was in the middle. They won 8 games in a row, which like tied a program record. And then after that, Chris, they lost like 11-12.
Yeah.
So they went from winning 8 in a row to losing 11-12.
Wait, say that again. After they beat Ole Miss or before?
After they beat Ole Miss, they dropped like 11-12 to close the regular season.
And then they got healthy, I presume.
Isn't
that crazy? I think the Donkey Bud's got a point here. When you used to sing 95 plus all day and you go against 88, 90, I mean, that happened to Vanderbilt all weekend.
It happened to Ole Miss in the first game against Murray State. What was that, 2 days ago? That guy, nothing special, 3-pitch mix, fastball, max 89, slider, change. And he threw 120 pitches. It does make a difference. Because these SEC guys are used to seeing like 95 to 98 on a consistent basis, and then you go from that to 88 max.
I mean, hitting is timing.
Yeah.
I mean, and Vanderbilt this weekend was not striking out. They were just popping everything up, getting a little bit out in front of stuff. Like, I think they only struck out twice today.
Did they really? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pulling up the box score for Little Rock. I want to see who Little Rock is used in the pen. Little Rock, they've already used Royal. Royal's one of their top arms. That must have been a situational. He only threw 8 pitches. Royal's a lefty. And they've gone with Brown. Brown did not throw a single pitch in the OVC tournament, and he's going 4 1/3 in Baton Rouge.
You can't make this stuff up, can you?
Cole's asking who I think Ole Miss is going to start. No idea. like literally no idea. If you want to do the Riley Maddox thing, let me see how many pitches he threw the other night. But again, Murray State hit him pretty good.
Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate that. Got a new member here.
Yeah, so
should we just write it out and finish Little Rock and LSU?
We can. I'll have to turn it on the main screen. But like somebody mentioned Riley Maddox for Ole Miss tomorrow. Riley threw 70 pitches.
LSU's just sticking it, or excuse me, Arizona's just sticking it to is that Cal Poly? I can't keep up. 10-0 now. Mayers walks a hitter for LSU. Thoughts on Auburn and Coastal? I think that'll be a dandy.
I like Auburn. Give me Auburn.
LSU was my pre-tournament pick to win this whole thing. Should I be rethinking? Well, heck, I should be rethinking everything after this weekend. And I want to say Arkansas got a little help there with the draw, but that didn't seem to matter anywhere. Like the ones we thought were cakewalks weren't. I don't know. It feels like Arkansas is the team right now that's just. Although didn't they struggle the other night in one of those games?
If they did, it feels like a lifetime ago. Do you have more confidence in Arkansas or Auburn right now? I'm going Arkansas. But I got a lot of confidence in both.
I think the answer is Arkansas, but I'm not. Gosh, Auburn was dominant this weekend.
Wild pitch for LSU, runner in scoring position.
Oh, jeez. I mean, we saw there were what? $96 games of baseball this weekend by the time we get through tonight.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why it's making it so difficult to keep up with all this. And the SEC had representation in 13 regionals.
Yeah.
And then whatever happened out west, I'm just like, whatever.
It all blends in. First two have reached for Little Rock. Will Sample says LSU has trailed more in this game tonight than Arkansas did in their whole regional.
Who was? Am I imagining this? Did Arkansas have trouble in one of the games? Yeah, you know what? It was the North Dakota State game. Jimenez got off to a rough start, and that was a team that didn't score a lot. Arkansas won that one 6-2-ish, maybe.
Yeah, but still, if that's the only adversity you face, you had a good weekend.
At this point, almost no one anywhere could rubber stamp anything, right?
Yeah. I am happy for Coach Curry in Little Rock. Like when I say he's phenomenal and like really easy to pull and cheer for.
I think for the most part, that's a lot of baseball coaches, don't you?
Yeah. Well,
like the difference. Well, go ahead. I'll let you.
I was probably what you're about to say. Like the difference between baseball coaches and like football coaches is night and day. Like access, like you get way more access to head coaches in baseball, players, you name it. I mean, look at like we had half of the coaches in the SEC on this show. Do we think we could do that in football? Like, and even if we did get half the football coaches, we wouldn't be with them for an hour like we were for the baseball coaches.
Baseball, okay, football is like way off the charts corporate. Like everything's buttoned down.
Correct.
If you're going to get something, it's, whoever with Paul Feinbaum. Like football, big times, anybody and everybody for the most part. Basketball's a little better in some spots. Like you go to the SEC tournament and just kind of walk around and you'll see assistants and you'll see them talking to media and like there's a little bit of they're amongst us there. Because if you've ever sat on media, like you look up, you're on media row there and like you look up and there's, Charles Barkley or somebody or Wimp Sanderson or what, like, and the assistants sometimes will come. Like I've been at the SEC basketball tournament many times and the assistants will come up and sit with next to you or whatever at times. And so you get a little bit of that, but basketball is becoming more corporate. Baseball is easily the one where it's more down to earth, easily.
Very much so. I think just because it's a long season,
Yeah.
and like you see the same people essentially every day.
Well, that and I think also they know that they need the publicity.
Yeah, that's very true. Like when by the way, Little Rock has the bases loaded with nobody out. when Mike Bianco got hired, Chris, like he was 30, and he said the rule that Skip Bertman taught him, and that he still does it to this day: say yes to everything, like speaking engagements, like put a sport coat and tie in your office, just so you have one around at all times, and you say yes to everything. And that's I mean, he built the Ole Miss program pretty much from scratch to what it has been, attendance wise, facilities, all that stuff.
And if you want to go back and dig a little bit on our channel, you can find where we interviewed 6 or 7 coaches before the season, and the conversations were wonderful. And like several of those guys, we had a very extended off-air conversation too, just shooting the breeze, and really enjoyed those.
I think we ended up with, it was either 7 or 8, but a lot.
Yeah, I think there were a couple that I couldn't do, but okay, Little Rock has played it a run on the sack fly.
Yeah, for a second, I thought it was gone. I thought he hit a grand slam. Who is this?
Hey, that's a good question. No Evans and Cowan. I think I know who you'll be seeing tomorrow. I would have to think Cowan starts that game.
Well, good thing he's got 100 innings at Wofford.
Stony Brook is who you're thinking of, Will. I think it was 2013-ish.
Yeah, they went all the way to Omaha.
Mm-hmm. Mayers can't throw a strike, which might be why he didn't pitch more.
Has Shores pitched? When has Shores been out there?
I want to say Shores pitched day 1. Let me look that up.
That dude was filthy against Ole Miss in the tournament.
No, wait a minute. He hasn't. I don't think he's thrown yet. Oh my goodness! It just,
man, you guys in the chat, you were way ahead of me. I got a 3-1 count.
Well, he walked him on a wild pitch, and I thought for a minute, I guess that the runner coming to third wasn't super serious about trying to make them make a play at home, but there's a little bit of room between home plate and the backstop there.
By the way, you guys would be really impressed if you would see the stadium that Little Rock plays in, and just what they have to work with compared to life in the SEC.
Okay, somebody said Shores threw 40 pitches. I did not log that. Which day was that?
Had to be early.
Well, it wasn't Friday, because that was Einstein going most of the way. Oh, was that tonight? Oh, yeah, it was tonight. That's why I missed it.
Josh, 4 is the answer to your question. Josh with a super chat. Oh, how many win? I thought he said how many SEC teams are playing tomorrow.
I have no idea. LSU making a pitching change. That is
48. Looks like a giant.
Connor Binge? No, wait, let's see. Maverick Rizzi? I think he's already thrown. Not tonight, but yeah, I think that's him.
It's a bold prediction. The ACC will have more World Series teams than the SEC.
How bold is it at this point?
Well, Clemson better be on their hands and knees thanking Vandy and Texas that everybody's talking about those two and not Clemson and what they did.
Did you watch any of Clemson today?
I did, yeah.
They just fell apart.
They look so tight.
I mean, Kentucky was running on anything and everything, and we're just like, we'll dare you to throw us out. And Clemson just could not do it.
Let's see who the ACC's got left. Louisville. So Louisville to the Supers. Miami still in it. They got Southern Miss tomorrow. Wake Forest has Tennessee tomorrow. Florida State Supers. Duke Supers. And that's it. How you doing, 70? Did he just say that on post-game radio? Mike Bianco said he didn't know who's going to start tomorrow. I mean, makes sense.
Can you imagine how tired he's got to be after tonight?
Yeah. Without a doubt.
I mean, your brain has just got to be.
That's 9 hours game time at the ballpark.
Well, and it's not just you're having to think about things in terms of today. You're having to think, well, tomorrow. And I guess you get some of that during the regular season, right? But it's not with your season on the line.
Mm-hmm. So this guy for Little Rock was the right fielder last year. He's playing third this year. He had sports hernia surgery in the fall and missed a lot of time.
Man.
He's one of the 6 that they missed in the regular season at one point.
I don't have the sound on. I'd just be interested to hear what it sounds like in Baton Rouge tonight.
Not locked in and engaged like normal.
Mm-mm.
That was a good swing. That was a 96 cutter that he fouled off. Baton Rouge looks pretty empty, but it's also almost midnight.
Well, the front row is full on TV, the front few rows behind home plate.
Everybody in the chat saying it's quiet. Ole Miss is playing at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Thanks. How you doing, 70?
Means we're going to have another late night of this.
The Ole Miss fans in the chat, did any of you guys go to any of the games this weekend? I went Friday, Saturday. I didn't go to any of the ones today. I'll probably go tomorrow.
Man, they could walk in another run here.
Rhodes is hitting 125 when the bases are loaded. Ooh, good pitch.
Yeah, that crowd just looks, I mean, every time they show a fan, the look on their faces just tells you everything. Oh, he swung at ball 4. but they got to run in anyway.
Boy, it was close. That was very close. Bo says he's been in the Eugene regional all weekend. How was that? What was that like?
So St. Mary's and St. Mary's was at Oregon State. Utah Valley, Arizona, Cal Poly. Bo, what's your connection there? Because I know you've been in the chat a lot this year. So I know you're an SEC guy.
Yeah, a lot this weekend too. Thanks for being with us, Bo.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy at the plate for Little Rock now, he's a true freshman catcher. Was not supposed to be the everyday catcher. Their starting catcher last year got hurt, messed his knee up the second week. And so this guy made all conference as a true freshman this year. He was an offensive guard on the high school football team. And he's like it's like a 200-pound catcher.
It's almost as if you announced all their games last week.
It is. I'm telling you, their coach gave me all kinds of good stuff. I talked to him for hours upon hours.
He had no idea he'd be getting this much run on an SEC show next week, did he?
No, he did not. He told me so he played in Mississippi State under Ron Polk, and if you don't know, Ron Polk's thing is he has a big Rolodex, and Ron Polk, for everybody that played under him or everybody that he recruited, he handwrites them a thank you letter for their birthday, Christmas, and their wedding anniversary.
Wild Pitt scores another run. Bo says he is an Aggie living in Eugene. That's got to be culture shock.
Yeah, you might be the only one, Bo.
I've been to Eugene. It's been a minute.
I went about
really pretty campus.
Yeah, it is. It's very pretty.
So green up there. Oh, man.
Thank you, Donkey Bud. That's kind of you. Watching the OVC tournament. They're showing shots of the LSU fans hitting the exits.
Maverick Rizzi's just all over the place.
How many 2-out hits do they have? LSU has more 2-out hits in this game, but they're losing. LSU has more hits with runners in scoring position, and they're losing.
Josh has always got to get one in on Jay Johnson, where he's got a shot. Hey, Josh, I got news for you. Your own coach is not very tall either. But
have you been in the same room with Tony V?
No, but I've heard he's 5'6". I mean, who cares? But yeah, hey, Bo, Cal Poly played A&M really well early in the season. And that should have told us two things in hindsight.
Yeah, they just play in a conference. It's just hard to kind of watch all their games, you know?
Yeah.
This guy at the plate did not play at all in the tournament.
Gosh. This is bizarro world that we're in here.
Did he start or is he pinch hitting?
No idea. Well, I can check the box score.
I think he started.
Man, they're not done. Oh, my goodness. Seeing eye right up the middle.
Oh, no, that's That's a Mississippi kid. He's from Jackson. I think he was the tournament MVP, if I remember correctly.
Cano is back up. Chaplin was who just got the last hit, I think, and it looks like he started at second.
Yeah, he's from Jackson. He played at a
Woodham.
very, very small school in Jackson, Mississippi.
You know what? I was going to stay through the end of this one. I might just be the point of being willing to wake up in the morning being surprised at this point.
It helps when it's a 6-run deficit.
I don't know that I'm swinging at anything if I'm these guys. I mean, Maverick Rizzi is just all over the place.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah, no, I get it. That was a base hit. I just saw it. But my point is he's just.
First, is that right? Wow. Their first home regional loss since 2016. All right, inning over. So LSU has 3 outs.
They beat Duke, right?
Who's that?
Oklahoma State. I think that one goes to tomorrow night, correct? No, what? No, I'm sorry. Duke won the regional.
Yeah, Duke has already punched their ticket.
Yeah.
All right, if you want to go to bed, let's go to bed.
I'm just sitting here thinking, like, we're going to do a whole slew of super previews next week. And I'm just like, everything went so not according to the way anybody drew it up. I'm like,
yeah. Well, the good news is we don't have to do 13 of them.
Oh, my God. I literally think I worked 100 hours this last week.
Yeah. Don't do the math. It's not going to make you feel good.
Which I think I feel bad about going to bed before this one's over. But maybe not quite as bad. What's your call? Should we get some sleep?
You're the boss, but I mean,
let's see. Let's see a hitter or two. I'm a glutton.
Who is this on the mound for Little Rock?
Oh, Dalton Beck getting in at bat. Beck's another guy that came in, was a big-time player at wherever he was a year ago. Incarnate Word, I think. It didn't. Ooh, Cags got called up. Didn't see that. I know he was killing it in AAA.
Yeah, Cole, how you doing? 70 has it in the chat. Mike post-game said he doesn't know who's going to start tomorrow for Ole Miss.
All right, Bo's saying, I'm up. You guys need to stay up. Bo, you talked me into it.
Bo, how do you like watching sports on the West Coast? I think it's such a big difference. Like to watch Monday Night Football like 5 o'clock. I never got used to that. We talked about it the other night. Eastern time zone, the worst for sports fans. I think the best is Central and Mountain time.
I spent a good bit of time in Mountain Time watching sports.
What'd you think? How was it?
Yeah, it's fine.
This is impressive. Malcolm Brown, again, did not fire a single pitch in the OVC tournament. And he's dealing tonight at LSU. 87-mile-an-hour fastball. Blew it past him.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few other teams maybe silently watching this and feeling maybe 1% less bad than they did a few hours ago. Kiss of death on Coastal, please. You know that joke, don't you? Graham.
Say it again.
When Blake and Max and I would all pick the same team in basketball picks this year, we would always joke that it was the kiss of death.
The kiss of death, yeah.
That whoever got picked unanimously was going to win,
lose.
and it happened.
Or vice versa.
Well, yeah, to lose. Excuse me.
That happened with us in baseball. There were several weekends. All three of us would pick somebody, and it would go the other direction. Like, who had Mizzou beating A&M in College Station? Nobody.
This is great.
He's not wrong, though. LSU baseball fans they're kind of different than their football fans.
LSU baseball fans are the ones that will show up at the SEC tournament before their team plays and stay after. You have LSU fans that will go to Omaha and hang out, whether they're in that or not.
Yeah. They're very high IQ baseball fans. And for the most part, they're very nice.
One away, one to go for Little Rock. Josh, that's not very nice.
What'd he say? Asleep or black?
Is that Skip? Looks like Skip.
That is Skip. That is Skip. Whoa. He's staying up at midnight to watch his Tigers. What do you think Skip would be like in today's era?
I don't know. Skip was getting out of this right as I was getting into following it. And I need to watch that documentary. I can't believe I've not.
I still think I still think he would win titles.
I would think so.
I don't know how many. Like to me, what makes Nick Saban so great, you could put him in any era and he's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
Man, could you imagine if somebody laid down that bet?
I wonder what they are after tonight.
What would you do if you made that bet? Would you
Oh my goodness.
Ride or die till the end?
Man, what a way to finish a game. Throw from deep short.
That guy's good. Alex Seguin.
Man, I'm telling you, these guys look like they think they belong. They really do.
He's from California.
We might have to look these guys up a little bit in the morning.
Little Rock.
Or I could just call you.
First 4 seed to beat LSU in a regional game at home. Wow.
Was Stony Brook a...
I guess they weren't a 4. They must have been a 3 that year.
Must have been. All right, we'll be back at it sometime tomorrow. God help me if I know when, but we'll be back at it. I was going to do one in the morning or at some point, maybe mid-afternoon. First of all, I need to sleep. Then I'm going to need to do a bunch of radio stuff tomorrow. But I would like to look forward to the Monday night games a little bit.
Well, there's some big ones too, which makes it fun tomorrow night.
Right. Well, here's what you do. Subscribe to the channel, which is free. Enable your notifications so you'll know when we go on tomorrow. And then we'll do a reaction tomorrow night. And then we'll do predictions. And then we'll be back at it Friday. That's when they start, right?
Yes.
There's no Thursday starts. And some Friday starts and some Saturday starts. Tennessee at 6. That would be Eastern, I hope. So, yeah, we'll rewind it all tomorrow.
Let's do it.
Graham, thanks so much, my man.
Well, it's been fun. This is the fun time of year.
Yeah, well, and thank you guys in the chat for listening. Thanks for the super chats, the memberships, all that stuff. Really have enjoyed this. Hope you guys did too. All right, we're getting some sleep. For Graham Doty, I'm Chris Lee. You've been watching baseball content at Southeastern 16. God bless you. Have a good night. We'll see you again soon.